Okay.
No. We don't have to do a whole video call. I just wanted to include this in the podcast because I thought it'd be funny. But I'm sitting here right now. My room was cold. I had to air it out. And I'm cold. I put on my hoodie here. I thought I had my nice chill hangout Halo 3 hoodie from like 12 or 13 years ago. But I'm like, nah, I'll go full weeb and wear my Kill Sengetsu hoodie. And then I got my gamer optics because I'm sitting in the dark here like some sort of, Halloween ghoul sipping my tea right here.
Spooky.
It's peppermint tea. It's quite lovely.
Nice. Oh, I just lost you.
This portion of the video podcast is brought to you by no one because that's only for me and you, Mike. No one else is going to see that. You're going to bring that up a few days later, and I'm going to be like, what are you talking about, Mike? That never happened. That was like some sort of fever dream you just had.
Yeah. Ooh, who could that have been?
I don't even own a Kill la Kill hoodie, Mike.
My name's not Corey.
Yeah, it's Matthew. I was going to say Matt, but then I just... Okay. Hey, I don't really...
It's Math. Yes, Math is short for Matthew.
I hate to say it, but I don't really have much that I did last weekend. I kind of just stayed at home, played a lot of video games, watched some movies. But the one thing of note that I wanted to bring up is that me and Megan actually carved some pumpkins last week. And that was a lot of fun.
Oh.
Yeah. I took this Megan took this nice picture of me that I don't think I put on my Instagram. It might have been on my stories, but it was like me wearing this like really nice apron she got me in gloves, holding this big like butcher knife that we were going to use to carve the pumpkins. And something about it was really tickling my fancy. Hopefully this doesn't mean I want to be a murderer, but I was like getting the vibes of like, being that serial killer type look, in a spooky way, of course. I'm not going to actually go murder people.
Interesting.
Just vegetables. Interesting. And yeah, we murdered. Well, I mean, technically the vegetables would be dead already. They're almost more like corpses. So we dissected them. We feasted upon their innards. My girlfriend seasoned them with salt and pepper, Parmesan and garlic, and I think the third batch were cinnamon and brown sugar. These are pumpkin seeds, excuse me, folks. Because, if you carve the pumpkin, why waste all those delicious treats inside the seeds, People buy those. So you just bake them. It's just a whole process. You got to rinse them off, wait for them to dry perfectly. Then you make them. They're pretty good. But anyway, I know what y'all thinking. You just want to know what I carved my pumpkin as. And what my girlfriend carved her pumpkin as well. And she did Oogie Boogie from one Nightmare Before Christmas. Came out super well. Also, it is thematically appropriate because, as the pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern sits out there, it will just continue to rot, attracting fruit flies and such. So, it works. As for me, I went a little basic, but I liked mine. I went for basically the jack-o'-lantern style that you would find in Animal Crossing. So if you just do a Goog of Animal Crossing jack-o'-lantern and find like just a smiley type face, or even what the character Jack looks like in Animal Crossing, it's that. But they turned out well. And that's pretty much all I did. I went grocery shopping. That was fun. Got a lot of food. Oh, this is the point where Mike says I wasn't listening to half this. Corey, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to comment and make a reference to Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin and say, oh my god, you're killing all those pumpkins. But, yeah.
I've actually never seen that.
Oh, well. I would say, if you want to watch it now, please don't expect, something like The Dark Knight or anything.
Darn, that's really what I thought those kids movies were about. I've never really had a lot of influence from Peanuts stuff, Like I never even really watched the Christmas one.
Yeah, they're nostalgic. It's kind of like if you were to go back and rewatch the rain. You're not going to be blown away by it, but if you watch them as a kid, it's more enjoyable. Yes.
Now, you cut out a little bit for me, Mike. Did you say
Oh,
like
I'm
the
sorry.
claymation reindeer?
Yeah, I was saying like the Rudolph thing. I'm sorry. So you left off doing your little skit there, and then I said, "Oh my gosh, who are you?" And then you said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my internet cut out, whatever, something like that."
Oh, speaking of that, that was another video skit that no one could actually see besides us. But I don't know how to close this knife now, so I need to leave it open until my girlfriend comes home.
Maybe you can. I think you can. I don't want you to cut yourself, but maybe you can push it to the side.
I was trying to do that, but I was like using a decent amount of pressure, and it wasn't moving. And I'm like, I'm kind of getting scared now. I don't want to use too much more pressure. I might accidentally cut myself.
Maybe it's because it's a haunted knife.
Guys, look, you can't see the knife. It's right here on my desk. Here, you hear that thudding? It's right there. There. Now you're in my room. Now you're with me.
Who was that?
You're way too close. Please back up 6 feet. You know, coronavirus. It's still happening, guys. You didn't even wear your mask. You didn't even take off your shoes at the front door. I digress. Okay, look, all I wanted to say is me and my girlfriend, we carved pumpkins. It was a hell of a time. I didn't do much else. Oh, wait. No, we did do one more thing. I just remembered now. On Saturday, we went to get a very nice breakfast together. You know, we just, I know it's not much, like it's nothing special, but we enjoy going to like new places to get breakfast and maybe make a little like day out of it. But anyways, my girlfriend took me to this place and they specialized in crepes. And I haven't had a crepe in, I want to say, since I was probably in high school. So I know typically crepes from the American standpoint, I think they're all like dessert themed. So they usually have like cheesecake filling or Nutella and usually a bunch of like fresh fruit like strawberries, bananas, etc. And I didn't ever realize or just didn't really think too much that there are like savory crepes, because the crepe itself, I almost compared it to like a tortilla. Like it's just kind of a crispy, not really a lot of a flavor going on there. So it's like you can kind of do a lot with it. But yeah, the savory crepes have like, you know, you can get breakfast ones with like eggs and bacon and cheese, or you can get more like a lunch type thing with like deli meat in there and, you know, maybe some other types of vegetables. So I ended up getting like I think it was like pretty much I forget what it was called, like at the farm or at the ranch or something, but it was all just like vegetables. So there was like arugula, spinach, mushrooms, roasted red peppers, tomatoes, and it had this like herbed mayo in it and some sort of cheese. It was really good though. Also got a pumpkin spice latte. Get it, girl. I love them.
Yes, queen.
Pumpkin spice. I give it 2 thumbs up. And guess what? I'm also raising my knife to pumpkin spice, but this isn't a threatening knife raise. It's a good.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, like, don't get any intentions there, Corey, or any crazy ideas with that knife in your hand.
I put the knife down. That means my story's over. Mike, did you do anything fun with your fiance or your new pup lord, Leo?
We definitely had some fun this week with our little pup lord, as you called him. We got him some cute little outfits. Or I should say, my fiance got him the outfits. I kind of just stood there and thought, "Oh, that's cute, I guess." But then they are cute. They like. Luckily, he actually doesn't mind getting dressed. Apparently, he doesn't mind getting dressed up. And we got him again. Amanda got him a cute little pumpkin hat, a vest, like a little pumpkin vest, and a bow tie. So he is looking pretty darn snazzy, if I have to say.
Okay, I just want to point out to everyone that even though me and my girlfriend were gutting these pumpkins and like eating their innards, I didn't at least like put the skin around my cat and make an outfit out of it. Like Mike is literally de-skinning these pumpkins and then making his little puppy wear them. That's sick, Mike.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, we watched the movie Halloween, and I got inspired by
you too,
Mike Myers. Yeah, I'm like, look at that. That mask looks like it's the person's face over his face. I'm like, well, how about we just carve this pumpkin up and put the pumpkin's face over Leo's face?
Oh, is that my new ringtone? That was supposed to be the Halloween theme. It was bad.
Oh no, that sounded just like it. No one would think otherwise.
So I'll make a cut of all the movies with that as the, you know, just replace the actual like piano or however they make it.
Pretty sure it's a piano.
All right, so you got him some outfits. Also, I just want to point out, like, there's no shame here on the Level With Me podcast. If you enjoy dressing up your dog or animal, go for it. The stroller, in my opinion, is when it starts to get weird. But I own. Well, I don't. I've been gifted a pet stroller, so I'm a hypocrite. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my beer. But I definitely agree that the strollers like that line that you cross where it's like, all right, well now your dog is your child, like literally, and it can kind of go a little bit too far. Like it's cute to watch, I guess, from afar, but when it's your dog, then you think, oh no, what has my wife/girlfriend done? You know.
Also, yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. Where you're like, my fiance picked these out, and I was like, yeah, those are cute. Because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I feel like men are kind of like, yeah, get whichever one you want to get, you know? Like, you get the one you like the most. But then, I would assume your partner, whether it be a man or woman or whatever, also is like, well, I want you to get the one you like the best because you guys love each other, you know? And it's an infinite loop of love.
Yeah, I would think that. I mean, more so, I would say more so it's probably like, we do agree, or we do ask each other, like, well, what do you think? But when it comes to those kind of things, I really don't have an opinion on it. I mean, granted, I don't want him wearing anything pink just because he's a boy. So I'd rather him wear
You heard it here first, folks. Mike's gonna dress up his little puppy like a Klansman. Real shout out.
Whoa, this guy went way too far.
I didn't mean to blow it up like that.
When Corey assumes, oh, not pink. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Get a little, red patch there.
Yeah.
Hey,
buddy, you can't say red. That's offensive, Corey.
Oh, you're right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, the only colors you can say that aren't offensive are blue and green. Oh, wait, no, blue offends the people of Avatar, so you can't use blue either.
The Washington football team.
Yes. The Greensdale human beings.
I'd buy that hat.
Did you ever watch the show Community?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure you got the reference.
I mean, I don't remember how far I got into it, but it's fun.
Oh,
I want to get back into it. I didn't finish it all. Me and Megan started actually watching it this year, but don't worry, it's like a sitcom. I feel like I remember that episode though, but
yeah,
I digress.
Well, if you don't remember, basically it's just the most non-offensive Halloween costume ever. Or like mask. It's a costume that is completely non-offensive, and it was just the human being.
I get it.
But actually, it's pretty scary looking. It has some Slender Man vibes going on.
Oh, that's right. They're mask. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Anywho,
I've watched a lot of scary movies this week, as we'll get into later in the podcast. I'm just going to say that mascot is probably one of the creepiest things I've seen.
I know, like it's supposed to be like, oh, it's just so bland and non-offensive. I'm like, yeah, but it's terrifying. Like, if that thing popped into the locker room, I'd be like, oh my god, kill it with fire.
Thanks for making me think that he's just like standing behind me somewhere watching me.
Hi, Corey. Oh, it's maybe that's that person we just saw on the camera.
At least I have the knife. At least I have the knife. That's all I gotta say.
Oh my gosh, what do I have? I have nothing.
I have a weapon. I have lukewarm tea. That'll probably distract him for maybe a second.
I have a beer bottle. I could probably shatter that and attack him. I have
I would guess, maybe 6 to 7 inch Godzilla toy.
Well, Godzilla's pretty scary. Maybe you can shoo him away with that.
His fins, they're pretty pointy. They're not spikes. They're fins because he swims.
I have a couple of Charizards. Maybe I can just throw them as a diversion. Like, here, go get them.
I mean, mine won't do as much damage. I have like the original, like little Charmander and Squirtle, like the plastic toys.
Yeah, you don't downplay those.
Yeah, but maybe they can use like Headbutt or Skull Bash.
Nice.
Get it, guys? It's a video game joke because this is the #1 video game podcast in the world.
Heck yes.
Level with me. Let's get right into it. Hit the cue. Perfect
segue.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 68. I am one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey. How you doing, folks? I know you can't actually say anything. Well, you can, but I just can't hear you. And I'm joined today, and as usual and forever, by my co-host, Mike, a.k.a. The Collector's Vault. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. Oh, man. just think next episode. And I'm sorry, got some alarms going off out there. Sounds like some criminals.
Well, I mean, we have been talking about a lot of criminal activity. All in jest. It's good Halloween fun, guys. This knife is not real. I'm gonna hurt myself right now to prove it. Oh God. Oh.
Well, quick. Talk louder because you have to convince the cops to stop coming for me.
Hey,
I think they heard a knife and now they're coming after me.
Oh God, there's so much blood. Oh no, it's a real knife.
Hopefully, it's an ambulance, not the cops. He's over here.
With me, you guys. Yeah. All right. The bit's dead. All right.
I got a little scared. I got a little worried there. I'm like, all right, what have you done with Corey? Anyway, what I was trying to say was, next episode is going to be really interesting because we all know what episode is going to be, guys. Episode 70? Number. Oh. Are we going to skip it?
Of course not.
All right, good. Wait, is that really my window?
I have one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's I think it's because it's Columbus Day and there's a lot of protesting going on for Columbus Day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, they're very mad about the cardboard box that's down the street from my house.
Well, I wish you safe in this night of protesting or whatever. Hopefully, nothing happens over on your end, and we're just gonna. We're going to take all those sirens out of your mind. That's not what you're here to hear. That. No one needs to hear that. You're here to hear good times, funnies, video game news, etc.
Yes.
And
with your hosts, Corey and Mike.
That's correct. And right now, though, we're going to talk about some not video game related stuff. But then we'll get to the news real quick. Ease into it. So, Soul. This is Pixar's brand new movie, is going to premiere on Disney Plus. Is skipping theatrical release. Disney announced that upcoming Pixar film Soul will skip its theatrical release and head straight to Disney Plus this holiday season. It will debut exclusively on the streaming service December 25th, 2020. And it was originally supposed to be run in theaters on November 20th, but of course, with everything happening with COVID-19 and whatnot, you don't want to go to a movies right now.
It's a shame. I mean, it's funny because I think a lot of people might have a bad taste in their mouth with the last, Mulan movie. Granted, it wasn't Pixar, and Pixar movies tend to have a really good quality, so I'm pretty sure this will be. I think it'll be good. It's funny because this is supposed to be like a very music-themed movie, I think. About jazz and stuff or something. So I have a feeling this would be a good movie.
So,
I don't know.
So the thing that I don't know if the article went into it or if Disney has clarified yet, but the article talks about it here. It's unclear if Soul will be included at no charge or will be like Mulan where you had to kind of rent it for $30 or whatever. That we just don't know yet.
Well, the last Pixar movie was the one Onward, and I'm pretty sure that was free.
That was free. Yep. That was in April or May, I want to say.
Yeah. That was back when Disney Plus first started, I want to say. No. Disney
Plus it was halfway into it.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say maybe that was part of oh, here's Disney Plus, and when it launched, and by the way, here's Onward because of COVID. But no, you're right. I think you're right. Disney Plus, I think, did start last year because that's when they were putting the Mandalorian on there. So, you're right.
I'm gonna say, in my opinion, I don't know what they're gonna do. On one hand, I want to be like, well, yeah, it's Christmas. A lot of people are gonna be together. Why not just celebrate by watching Soul, which I'm sure a lot of people will watch on Christmas, evening after the gifts.
But it's clearly a Christmas themed movie.
Yes, exactly. But then on the other hand, I just saw something like Disney had to let go of 28,000 members from their parks across the world. And, they're kind of, they're Disney. They have a lot of money, but they're losing a lot of money too with all this stuff with the movies as well as a lot of the parks being closed. So it's I don't know. Maybe they are going to charge for this. I don't know. Who's to say?
I mean, I think I said it before, like on one of the previous episodes about the Mulan movie. Like, if the average family is about 4 people, like a mother, father, and 2 children, just just on average, like that is technically pretty affordable because then you're only paying like under $7, or you're paying like under like technically like $7.50 per person, and that's actually not a bad price considering how expensive movies are nowadays. So.
I agree.
In theory, and technically, you can watch it as many times as you want after you rent it. So, in theory, $30 might seem like a lot because you're thinking, oh, but that's a lot compared to like the $13 I spent and this $18 I spent on my popcorn. But it's like technically, it is pretty affordable if like everyone watches together at home.
Yeah,
You're not getting the full experience. But I think like for a movie like that, like you don't need a big screen thing. Like if it was like a science fiction movie, I could definitely see why going to the movie theater might be more of a better experience. Like that movie that just came out recently called Tenet. Like that's definitely a movie you might want to see like on the big screen with the surround sound and the loud,
absolutely.
Like, that's one thing. But I think Soul is probably a great movie to like just sit down on your couch with your family and watch together.
I agree. Oh, I
digress.
Oh, I was just gonna add that personally for me, this is something I'm more interested in, so if it would even come to having to pay for it, I probably would, because I think this looks more interesting than the Mulan movie.
Are you referring to our next article?
Oh, no, I meant Soul.
Oh, I'm sorry, talking about Soul. Yeah, sorry. I thought that was your transition to the next article. But yeah, I think Soul's interesting. Again, just because Pixar movies have a lot, like they are held up at such a high standard. Like I do put them on pedestals usually, so I expect a lot out of it. The Mulan movie, I think a lot of people did expect a lot out of it just because it was a Mulan remake, and obviously it's a very divisive movie. But yeah, I would say that being said, I'm looking forward to it because. Even the movie like Inside Out, I wasn't really thrilled to watch. I don't know, it just didn't really seem like it would appeal to me. But like most Pixar movies, I still really enjoyed it after watching it. So I think this will be a very similar experience for me, like when I watched Inside Out.
I agree. But moving on, we are going to continue to talk about some movies here, but these ones are actually related to video games this time.
Hot darn!
So this has had like a couple stories here and there, but I don't think it's had its proper like official trailer yet until now, which is Monster Hunter, the movie. The trailer's out there now, or the trailer is coming, I believe, Wednesday. Oh yeah, and there was just a teaser, and there were some more images released. But this thing's looking pretty cool. It's starring Mila Djokovic, famous for the Resident Evil movies, funny enough. And I'm pretty excited. I'll just read a little blurb here about the movie. Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat director Paul W.S. Anderson is translating yet another popular video game franchise to film with Monster Hunter, which is scheduled to hit theaters this December. That one will be in theaters. Interesting. Monster Hunter stars Anderson's frequent lead and wife, Mila Djokovic, as Captain Artemis, an original character created just for the movie. As the director recently explained at New York Comic Con, he decided it was important for the story he wanted to tell that the hero in Monster Hunter is a human from our world who is dropped into an extraordinary realm of monsters and mayhem.
Ah, okay.
I like that premise.
Well, it's interesting. I always felt like that's kind of like a weird cop-out when they... when let's put someone from our world into this world, kind of like it's the only way they can almost make it seem like it's a rational thing. But I mean, I say like why not just make this a show about the world of Monster Hunter, not make it seem like, oh, don't worry, it's not real, because there's the real world, and then you get like sucked into a video game. It's kind of like you're making everything Jumanji, And I always feel like, oh, why do they do that? Why does it have to be like, oh, here's someone sucked into the world of Monster Hunter? Why can't it just be like, no, this is just the world of Monster Hunter? Like make me believe this is a real place, But maybe that's just me looking too much into it. I will say the one shot with the main character running in the desert with Mila Djokovic is making me think, oh man, I can't wait for Resident Evil Extinction.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I think of when I see that shot. I don't know why.
I see that.
Yeah.
Now, Monster Hunter is a Capcom property, and you just mentioned Resident Evil. They're just loving making live-action versions of their movies. At least I think this movie is live-action. That movie, of course, also shout-outs to Mila Djokovic. There's a new Resident Evil movie, Resident Evil Origin Story. Reboot cast Jill Valentine, Leon Kennedy, Claire Renfield, and more. So, they're making a new Resident Evil movie. I believe it's live action. Let me read this here. The Resident Evil Origin Story movie has cast nearly all of its major leads, including actors for Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy, and Albert Wesker. This is yet another adaptation of Capcom's Survivor horror series, separate from a planned Netflix show. So that's correct. This is a completely different thing. I'm going to assume all live action movie. Because, I guess it's been long enough since the last live action Resident Evil series, even though, that last one came out in like 2016, 15? It's not that old.
Wait, I forget. Chris Ruby mentioned this. Was there a live action one, or was it like CGI?
Well, there was, I think a CG one came out earlier, but I meant the last film with Mila Djokovic. Oh, it was in 2017. Resident Evil, the final chapter.
Okay. Anywho.
I think we've talked about this before, but I'm not too familiar with the Resident Evil lore and story. I know a little bit about it, and I do like some of the games I've played, but I'm not sure if this is just going to cover the first game and maybe the second game, because the thing about the Resident Evil movies with Mila Djokovic is that they were their complete own thing. That didn't really... They kind of just took elements of the game and mixed them together, Yeah.
I want to say Claire is actually the name of Mila Djokovic. I think she's supposed to play. I think she's supposed to be Claire Redfield. But,
okay, I could see.
But
that.
but it's very different though. It's kind of like there's no Leon. There's no is there Chris?
Chris is in the first movie, and then he gets captured and becomes.
Oh, that's Nemesis. Right. But then doesn't he turn into Nemesis?
Yeah, but that doesn't happen in the game.
Exactly. I was going to say, I remember people saying, but that's not what happens in the game. All right. Anyway,
Nemesis is its own separate thing.
Yeah, it's just like many other video game adaptations that obviously set a very high bar. No. It's a shame. But again, those movies were at least cool to watch, but the story was was whatever. I would say for this series, the story actually is pretty cool from the original. It's simple, you got the whole government making biological weapons and everything, and making the zombie virus. So I think if they were to delve more into the lore of that, the lore of Umbrella, I think that'd be kind of interesting. Because if the Resident Evil fans are they love the original, the first one and the second one, especially now that we have 2 remakes. I think people would love to just delve into the world of those remakes, which is to help kind of bring the series more to life.
Yeah.
And I think there are other games that like sequels that are prequels and they kind of delve into that. But I think it'd be kind of cool to show that just stick with the TV show, And also maybe I think they're hoping to bring in people who are non-fans.
So I think this could be really cool too, because something I forgot to point out about the Monster Hunter movie, the screenshots, is I love the amount of practical effects, the big costumes that Mila Djokovic and the other actor has, their outfits, they're very faithful to the representation.
Yeah, and the weapons too. The guy literally has a giant dinosaur bone for a sword.
Yeah, the great sword. Yep.
Yeah, so I was okay, that actually is pretty authentic to the game, to the series, which is pretty cool.
And with that in mind, I hope to see that kind of love and attention in these movies. I know it's a completely different director and stuff, but it would be cool to see more really good practical effects for zombies, and maybe if they could even make a licker is probably the hardest thing they'd have to deal with. Oh, there's some of those other goofy Resident Evil enemies, but I think this could be really cool.
Yeah. Me being someone who's not the biggest Resident Evil fan, I would watch this show. It has my interest as a non-fan. So,
also, if you want to know the cast, listeners, go look it up. I'm not going to read all their names. Sorry.
Oh, come on, Corey. Be a sport.
Nope. We got more important things to talk about. Because now we're on to actual video game news.
Yahoo!
Not Yahoo, actually. Amazon. You know that company, right? They own Twitch. They sell books or something. I don't know.
Yeah, books, and I think the owner is that scrawny guy with the big glasses and the big ears.
Oh, yeah, Mark something. Anyways, Amazon, besides selling books and, whatever else they do, they actually were making some video games, and I think are still making other video games, but this game literally came out this year and is unfortunately shutting down in 2020, and that is Crucible. That's the name of the game. Amazon's free-to-play team shooter Crucible is shutting down on November 9th, 2020, just months after its official launch on May 20th, 2020. The Crucible team shared their final developer update and discussed what led to the decision following the team pulling the game back to the closed beta in July. The team made a list of features that were meant to enhance the player experience, and with the exception of custom games, which is slated to arrive in the coming days, it completed them all. However, after shipping those features and evaluating the feedback from fans paired with the data collected, the difficult choice to discontinue development was made. I just want to say my piece on this real quick. I never played this game, nor do I really know anything about it. I think I watched like 5 minutes of it, and it looked like a interesting, like, third-person shooter, team-based game. Each of the characters had like different play styles, almost like an Overwatch type thing. And I want to say you had to do like different objectives in this like big map. It seemed interesting, but it seemed very early. So this isn't really supposed to be like a mocking thing, other than like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I never want to say I want like a team of developers to fail, but Amazon's a pretty evil company, so all I can say is they should stick to selling books and selling children to factories in China.
Like I said, though, this is not Amazon's only game. They did have another game. Oh, yeah, it's called New World. It's like a MMORPG, and I heard that was pretty good. Like that released in beta like a month or two ago. So, that's probably where we're going to end up living in the next few years, when they hook us up to the VRs.
Yeah, and they plug those big cords in the back of our heads.
How many Amazon bucks does that water bottle cost? Oh,
the answer is all of your Amazon bucks.
Let's get rid of evil big corporations and talk about other big corporations. Sony. Hey, Sony confirms that PS4 to PS5 save transfers and reveals incompatible PS4 games. Okay, so, when they revealed the PS5 or were talking about it, like initially, they're like, oh, well, pretty much all the PS4 games are going to work on the PS5. Well, I hate to say it, folks, but there is a small list of games that will not work on the PS4. I believe there's only 10 of them. I pray to you that none of these games are your favorites. I've never heard of most of them. Let's read it together, perhaps. Pull out your phones, Google the list, whatever.
I'm ready.
DWVR.
No, my favorite game, no!
I literally just... I'm looking at a white screen. I don't know what that is. Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma.
No, my second favorite game, no!
Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma, Volume 1. What?
Don't worry, Volume 2 works.
It's a sequel with, like, 2 parts. Okay.
I'm actually shocked they made an Afro Samurai game in modern era.
There was one on the 360, which I heard was horrible. But I know people like Afro Samurai, like it's a cool anime.
It is a pretty cool anime. I enjoy it.
TT Isle of Man, Ride of the Edge 2. Excuse me. Darn, I do like my Edge. I'm upset that that's gone.
All right, don't worry. That one I don't care about.
Just deal with it. There's an exclamation point at the end of that one. That's my favorite party game. Me and my grandma love playing that one.
Yeah, and you have to yell it like you're screaming because of the exclamation point.
She's good at that. Shadow Complex Remastered. That's actually a really good game from what I understand.
I was about to comment. I think that's supposed to be like a really good Metroidvania game.
Developed by Cliffy B. He's the real canceled game. Robinson, The Journey. That's the most generic title.
Yeah.
We Sing. I mean, we can do that right now. Who cares if you can't play that on the PS5? You know.
Kumbaya.
My lord. See, look. You know, we're singing right now. They're
So
scamming you guys, they're taking that $40 right out of your pocket.
Yeah. Who needs a PS5? You can just sing on your own. I mean, come on.
Hitman Go Definitive Edition. I know the Hitman games are pretty good. I don't know about that one. I know the Go.
I think is it the phone version like
yes.
Pokemon Go? But
yes.
It's Hitman Go.
Yeah, because I heard that actually like Ubisoft or whoever developed those games, actually I think it was Square, they made like a bunch of like Go versions, and they're actually like cool games. Like they're not like Pokemon Go. They're actually just like single player games, I think. So that could be a good one. I don't know. Shadwen. That's Shadow with a EN minus the O. I believe that's... I believe that game is usually right behind Fall Guys. I don't know what it's about, though. Like on Twitch. So it's pretty popular.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That was a joke. I have no idea.
Oh, I think being serious.
No. And last but not least, I know this one's actually going to get everyone quite upset. Joe's Diner.
But I love that. I love their French fries. No!
I was looking so forward to getting my PS5 and installing Joe's Diner immediately. That was going to be the first game I streamed when I get the PS5.
I know.
I feel like I might cry right now.
It's like a diner simulator, right? Where you can serve burgers and sodas to people.
Joe, you're the one who got away. Actually, no, that was Velma.
Yeah, they both got away. Damn it.
But yes, hopefully no one cares about most of those games. There's a few, Shadow Complex and that Hitman Go could actually be good games. But yeah, there was I guess a lot about the save transfer, so there's a little bit more like information added here. In a new PlayStation blog post, Sony has elaborated on the upcoming PS4 to PS5 compatibility features. As revealed in the support page, save data can be transferred from PS4 to PS5, but will be a developer decision. Cloud saves are also available for PS Plus members, and PS5 customers will find that their digital library will transfer once accounts are synced. Streaming PS4 games to PS5 or PS Now will also be available, but will not benefit from a performance boost some PS4 titles will get when played natively on the PS5. And Sony has talked about that before, and even some developers were posting on this update, like Sucker Punch. They made Ghost of Tsushima. They're like, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is going to run like way better on the PS5, and kind of like recommended people play that there.
That's cool.
Also, I think it's cool about the like save data transfer stuff, That's all good, like, moving on up, helpful stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and we also got some more Sony news here. This one's a little, I guess, sad or questionable, but pretty inevitable. PlayStation Store will stop selling PS3, PSP, and Vita games through web and mobile. The PlayStation Store experience is about to receive an overhaul soon as Sony makes plans to limit what's available to purchase on the web and mobile versions of its digital store. In an email sent to PlayStation development partners, which IGN has independently verified, Sony says that starting on October 19th for web and October 28th for mobile, certain digital purchases will no longer be available for purchase. This includes PlayStation 3 games and add-ons, PSP games and add-ons, PlayStation Vita games and add-ons, apps, themes, and avatars. Sony is also doing away with the Your Wishlist feature, and any games currently on the wish list will be removed. First of all, I want to say that sucks. I always was wondering if PlayStation had a wish list, and I think that's awesome. I don't know why they would remove that. Yeah. Second of all, yeah, all those systems are pretty old, honestly.
Yeah, but still, it's like the end of an era, It's just sad to know that these games
they're just lost.
Yeah, and because this console is just so old now, and it's crazy to think that this is 14 years old now since that console came out. I don't know when the PSP came out, but the point and the Vita, but still, it's like you always want to feel like, oh, don't worry. It's kind of like Nintendo's Virtual Console. As long as I have the Wii U, I guess I'll buy all these games. But it's like, yeah, eventually it's going to come to a close, and it's just sad that these things are inevitable because we kind of forget about that until it happens. It's kind of like that expression: you don't realize how much you missed something until it's gone.
I miss the Wii eShop.
Me too. But isn't the Wii U eShop the exact same thing?
But it doesn't have the music.
That's true.
Also, there were a bunch of like WiiWare games that you could only get on the Wii. You can't get
That's
those
right.
on the Wii U.
That's right. I do remember the WiiWare games. Yeah, they were.
Excite Bike, the Wii one. Oh, it was so good.
Well, now I'm all upset, Corey. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you want to be more upset? Let's talk about closing video game studios.
No!
Level 5 reportedly ends North America operations. I mean, technically they're not going out of business. They're just closing in North America. Publisher and developer Level 5 appear to be ending operations in North America. There are currently no concrete plans to release any more games outside of Japan. As reported by GamesIndustry.biz, Level 5 International American and smaller spin-off studio Level 5 Abbey began laying off the majority of its employees sometime in the middle of 2019, although the exact number of employees is unknown. There is no indication as to why Level 5 is shutting down outside Japan, but employees from the Abbey location were given every indication that the studio would be ceasing operations. Only a couple employees remain to maintain day-to-day operations, while Level 5 focused its attention on the Japan office. Level 5 is known primarily for the Ni no Kuni series of games, as well as their popular Yo-Kai Watch titles, both of which feature games as well as anime adaptations. Yeah, that's kind of wild, dude. Literally just out of nowhere, like, it's gone.
That is kind of shocking, and it's funny because even like in the United States of all places, that's where it closes. Like, it'd be funny. It'd be one thing if like their studio in like a more, I don't want to say like a country that's just not as like video game heavy, but like maybe like a more obscure area. I can see them. Okay, let's close that smaller branch, but that's kind of it's sad. It's sad. I never like hearing about game studios closing. Or even like as you said, like it's not the whole company, but just in general. Like I'm never a big fan of that.
And I know a lot of people did enjoy both the Yo-Kai Watch and the Ni no Kuni series, so that's probably really like sad for them.
Yeah, like the Yo-Kai I heard about, I remember seeing on TV, but that was just a game series I never really got into. So it's not really going to affect me, but to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, I've never played either. I've never played a Yo-Kai Watch or a Ni no Kuni games, but I thought they all looked pretty neat. Speaking of looking pretty neat, Sonic the Hedgehog skin announced for Fall Guys Season 2. Everyone get hype. Where's the air horn? The man in the corner has the air horn. I believe it's that horrifying mascot we were talking about earlier. So I'm just going to let him have it.
Which evil mascot?
The one from Community?
Oh, that guy. Yeah. The one. Oh, yeah, the one of my nightmares. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah. Well, he's in my dark bedroom right now, so someone said yes, but as many people were talking about it. Actually, it's funny enough, I think one of my coworkers was telling me, like, oh, it'd be so cool if they, get all these, like, gaming mascots in Fall Guys because of how popular it is. But, lo and behold, a Sonic-inspired skin is coming to Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout later this week as part of the kickoff to Season 2. Starting on Wednesday, October 14th, players will have a chance to spend their hard-earned crowns on a full Sonic the Hedgehog costume. It will cost 10 crowns to complete the set, and you can check the outfit out below, which you guys can't see it. It's literally just a Sonic outfit. Like pretty much all that's left out is his little eye holes, and then it's like a full like Fall Guys potato-esque Sonic.
Yeah. What I like is because
it's great.
Yeah, I like it because the eyes also resemble how Sonic's eyes are. Like,
exactly,
kind of like one big blob or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I appreciate this.
I think there's going to be plenty more of this to come. Like, this is just the beginning. I think Fall Guys is going to have a nice, like, smooth transition into getting a lot more, like, big names and their numbers still blowing up. I feel like they're eventually going to put this game out on the Switch and maybe the Xbox, Fall Guys is killing it.
All I want is a Samus costume or a Samus skin.
Well, funny enough, they did put in a skin for that game I played before, Gato Roboto, And it literally, because that character is like Samus, I'm actually here. I'm going to send you a picture of it. It literally looks like that, you know? Funny enough. Oh, whoops. Hang on. We're doing internet. We're doing internet things here, folks. Bear with us.
You sent it to the wrong mic. You sent it
there
to.
You go.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's pretty much Samus. But that's great. I should have ordered these stories a little bit better. Forgive me, but we unfortunately have another story we need to talk about of another studio that has pretty much shut down almost and stopped support of a game. Indivisible's production has ended following Lab Zero Games' controversy. 505 Games has announced that apart from the content that has already been submitted, there will be no more productions of Indivisible following the controversy surrounding developer Lab Zero Games. 505 Games released a statement that clarifies this unfortunate decision, revealing that there will be no guest characters or backer-created characters added to the game, even though they were previously promised. That is really bad. I really don't know how this is going to, what's going to happen with this, because that is very upsetting. Yeah. And even...
Yeah, I can't really comment on that. It's shocking. Like...
Yeah. With the controversy, hang on, I'm trying to find if they talked about it in here. No, but it was something with one of the, I believe it was like the head of the Lab Zero Games. Like he did some like Me Too type stuff, so they pretty much...
Oh, that's why? Oh, my lord.
Yeah, kind of like all shut down from there, which is sad. I just also think it's upsetting because, yeah, there was a lot of people who... This game was in development on... I can't think of the name for it, but it's been in development for a while, And there are a lot of people who probably really wanted to see those backer and guest characters, so, that sucks. I mean, I guess at least the game's out there, right?
It's out there somewhere. Waiting to be hacked and modded.
All right. So I guess over this past week, Microsoft and GameStop had some sort of deal/agreement with the, I guess, Xbox stuff. And this article here says, Microsoft and GameStop's new agreement doesn't turn the retail chain into Xbox stores. GameStop and Microsoft have entered into a new multi-year partnership. What does it mean for the customers? Not a whole lot, actually, as the partnership appears to primarily impact GameStop's backend, transferring over GameStop systems over to Microsoft's 365 cloud solutions. In a joint announcement, GameStop and Microsoft announced a new multi-year partnership that will mostly see GameStop's back-end solutions move over to Microsoft's programs like Microsoft 365. This basically means GameStop stores will adopt Microsoft programs to help run business operations like sales and inventory, and store employees will use Microsoft 365 and Teams to communicate.
Oof. This sounds like a takeover to me.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
that sounds like a takeover. I think this is them just telling like us, the consumers, don't worry, it's a partnership. I think it's like, no, Microsoft is buying out GameStop, hands down.
Yeah, until like 3 years from now when it's called Microsoft's GameStop.
Yeah, or it's just called MicroStop.
Oh.
And then eventually the Microsoft store.
That's going to be so weird to walk into a MicroStop, as you called it, and they have like Nintendo shirts, and it's like, yeah, because we own ThinkGeek, so we can sell it. It's like, what? Yeah.
And then, like, you walk in there, and like Cortana greets you, like, "Hi, how can I help you?" To be fair, I would love if they actually had like Cortana.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope.
That would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But what does GameStop need to come back? They are just a burning mess. They want anyone to throw any kind of liquid on the fire to help it out.
I think this is just. I think sadly this is just proof that they're not going to make it out of this on their own. Like they had to get into this partnership, quote unquote, with Microsoft to sustain themselves. I was thinking that they were probably going to last after the console releases, the new console releases, but it looks like this probably just. I'm pretty sure the upper ups at GameStop are like, look, this ship's sinking. Let's just do whatever we can to stay afloat. And this, I guess, is what they came to an agreement with. But I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. You know what I do know? I know that Rambo is a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11.
I was waiting to see what other movie stars were implemented into this game.
Yeah, man. It looks like I guess they're just going movie stars. With Mortal Kombat X, they did all the horror. They got Jason, they got Freddy, they had the alien, they had Leatherface, they had like everyone, man. They did a great job. And now, yeah, we're just going like 80s action stars, which I'm pretty okay with, honestly.
Yeah, the RoboCop kind of like threw me off. I'm thinking, like, how is RoboCop going to be in this? But he actually, I guess after watching his gameplay, I'm like, I'm cool with it. It works, I guess.
But yes, Mortal Kombat 11 will add Sylvester Stallone's Rambo as a DLC character alongside classic characters Melina and Rain. Mortal Kombat 11 will also receive an Ultimate Edition arriving on November 17th, and both the base and Ultimate versions of the game are coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and Series S, with free upgrades for current-gen owners. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate will comprise the base game, the Aftermath expansion, and the Combat Packs 1 and 2. It'll be released on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Stadia. Wow, they literally got almost everything. A physical collector's edition will contain all the above, as well as a Sub-Zero mask, bust, exclusive steel case, commemorative magnet coin, authenticity plate, and exclusive DLC. Sorry I paused there on the bust. I was like, wait, what? But then I also remembered that with the initial Mortal Kombat 11 Collector's Edition, it came with a scorpion mask. So now you can have them, on your shelf right next to each other.
Neat.
For like $300 or whatever they're charging you.
Interesting.
I just want to have a nice PSA, although I haven't looked into this in a while. Probably don't buy this game on Switch. I heard it was a pretty bad port.
I heard it was okay, but it's just, to make it run, they had to make a lot of sacrifices.
I can't wait to see, Rambo and, the Terminator fight. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm the best action hero. No, I'm the best action hero.
Basically, all they did was just take, like, when you were 8 and you're playing with the toys of Terminator and Rambo. Well, now you're just doing that as an adult.
Yeah, you smash them into each other. That's basically let's turn this into a video game.
So, Microsoft, again, recently just bought Bethesda with all their money. And they're like, we could really use some of that money back. Why don't we put out games that we released before, or old games, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, and Prey collections seemingly coming to Xbox Series X and S. Next-gen collections of Bethesda's Wolfenstein, Dishonored, and Prey games seem to be headed to the Xbox Series X and S, according to a new ESRB ratings. You can check out the ESRB page for Dishonored and Prey, the Arcane collection, listed here on the IGN article, as well as Wolfenstein Alt History Collection. Xbox Series is listed as the only platform for both ratings, suggesting that this could be exclusive Microsoft consoles following Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax Media, which owns both Arcane and Wolfenstein Studio Machine games. Very interesting. It does make sense, though, too, because, there's definitely going to be a third Wolfenstein at some point, as well as they want to, make more Prey or Dishonored games. Naturally, they'd want them to be here. Very weird that these could be just exclusives, and, if that's just the reality we're going to live in now.
It's a sad day. It's funny. I heard good things about Dishonored and Prey, but then I haven't really heard anything. I mean, they're older games now, but I haven't really heard any, I haven't heard anything recently about them.
I'm right there with you. I don't know anything about Dishonored or Prey, but yeah, I heard they're both good games. Well, there's two Dishonored. There was only one Prey. The Prey didn't come out that long ago. I think it came out in 2016 or 17. Yeah, it'll just be the day if the next Fallout or Elder Scrolls would just be a Xbox exclusive. That'd be crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I can't tell if they would do that, though, because they literally would lose so much money from the PC. Well, it'll be on PC, but from PlayStation.
Well, I think again they do that, but it's more so it's going to boost I think it's mainly to boost console sales. That's I think the end goal.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's the only reason. Because I agree. You would think well, if you buy the studio and then obviously you don't make it like multi-platform, you think, oh, well, then you're losing your consumer base by half, like assumingly. But no, I think it's because they've realized, well, those guys, all that half of the base that we're losing, they're going to come over here and become Xbox fans. That's basically what they're shooting for.
Interesting times. Very curious to see what the future holds.
2020, you done it again.
We have a tad bit of Nintendo news here at the end, here at the Level With Me podcast. We love Nintendo, and we like to keep the Nintendo news at the back because we like to save the best for last.
Yes, sir.
Now, again, not necessarily Nintendo. It's a little Nintendo related, I guess. I don't know. Moon Studios on the potential of a new Ori game, prequels, spin-offs, and Ori and Smash. Moon Studios doesn't have any new Ori games planned right now, but has left the door open for return to the series, perhaps in a prequel or a spin-off. One spin-off the team doesn't have much control over, but would very much like to see, is Ori making an appearance in Super Smash Bros. With Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps now complete, the studio has said previously that it's happy with how Ori's story ended. In a new interview with IGN, the team made clear that was still the case, but it doesn't necessarily mean Moon won't return to the world it created. Moon is now working on a brand new action RPG for publisher Private Division with no connection to its Ori games. We are still in the pretty early stages of development, said lead artist Daniel Van Leeuwen, but a lot of things we already have are very exciting. That's very interesting. I could definitely see them revisit Ori, considering how well those first two games were received.
Yeah, it's definitely a very popular series. I mean, because it just, I have to say, because it's just, like people like kind of like think like games like Yooka-Laylee was going to bring back the 3D platformer, and I think it did and didn't do that. Then like games like Yooka-Laylee, the Impossible Maze came out, and or the Impossible Lair, I think that's what it's called, was actually a great 2D platformer. So I think like but Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a great example of like a 2D Metroidvania platformer that just excels like in so many categories. So I can definitely see them revisiting this, hands down.
All I gotta say, guys, about Ori and Smash is maybe you can get a Mii costume. Not getting a character though.
I think but I think like again, like the series is just so popular and it made that much of an impact. I think Nintendo can definitely do it. And I think if Steve can make it, maybe they can make it. Like Ori is the little like white like fox character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like because of that, like because of the impact that series has made, and it is now on a Nintendo console, I could definitely see them doing that. Because thankfully, Steve has only been on like a Nintendo console for the last like I guess since the Switch came out, so maybe like a little over like 3 years. But I could definitely see Ori being a good contender because he's actually a fighter for one. He has like you can give him an actual moveset,
Well, I'm pretty sure Minecraft was released on the Wii U. It might have been on the 3DS as well. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought it was only on the Switch.
No.
Never mind. Oh, I stand corrected. I'm sorry. I'm a liar.
Keep that written down. Keep Mike in check, guys. All right, last but not least, Universal Studios Japan Super Nintendo World now plans to open spring 2021. Nintendo of America confirmed that Super Nintendo World will open in Universal Studios Japan in early 2021. Nintendo has also released 4 new concept illustrations on Twitter, showcasing some of the attractions that will be opening along with the park. I assume that you and I can comment on the pictures that were released here because they're cool. Yes,
it looks awesome. I mean, I think we've seen pictures that were like taken from like the nearby highway or something that's near this, and like just seeing this little like I'm pretty sure this is just like a CGI image of what the area looks like, but it is pretty consistent because you see like the little like hilly area, you see Bowser's Castle, Peach's Castle. Oh man, I can't wait to see this. Now, the thing I'm really interested in is like the downtown area, which is kind of like how there's like downtown Disney or whatever. So you have little shops, you have your markets, your food places. Oh my gosh, it's now again, I'm probably a really big fake gamer here, but I'm trying to see what the references are. So right now, for the listeners, we're looking at a picture of, again, what looks like downtown Nintendo World, and actually it has like stars on the sidewalk, so it's kind of like maybe the Nintendo like Walk of Fame, I guess. But does anybody know what Schwab's Pharmacy is?
Yeah, I'm not getting that reference either. Is it Schwal's Pharmacy?
It looks like a B instead of an L, but even if it's Schwal's or Schwab's, like I don't know what that is. And then next to it looks like a photo booth, like a photo center, and it says the dark room. But again, not sure if that's just like a generic like a photographer's place for maybe like developing your pictures that all the people around the park take of you. Again, like Disney does something like that, but like I just don't get the references to like I was kind of expecting like Donkey Kong's banana smoothie shop, it's something like that. I was kind of expecting like those kind of references, not like these. I don't know. Are these like the names of the people who work at Nintendo? I don't understand. Like I don't know who Schwab is.
I have no idea either. You're right, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know where these shops are supposed to be, but they're not in the actual Nintendo or Super Nintendo world or whatever. They're like, I think either before you go in the warp pipe or somewhere outside.
Okay.
Which is why they have those like weird names. Which again, I don't know if they're references to something or they're just supposed to be kind of like thematical to Universal Studios. I've never even been to Universal Studios, so I don't know.
Actually, you know what? You're absolutely correct, because this is part of Universal, so technically I don't know. I mean, again, to our listeners, our followers, and our subscribers, if you know what these references are, please let us know, because I'm really curious.
I do love the inside of the shop and the little cafe. It's great.
Yeah, I do love it too.
Themed really appropriately in the cafe. There's a bunch of nice like blocks in the front, like where you order, which look like they'd be in like a Mario level. And,
all the 8-bit stuff, and the tables look like the mushroom tops from the original Super Mario Brothers. I love it.
And it looks like there's even some neon on some of the like 8-bit stuff on the wall there, like the piranha plant and the fire flower look like they're like neon.
Yes, you're right.
And the shop, I mean, it's not that special, but it's cool. It with the like cloudy part on the top, like on the ceiling, it kind of reminds me of like Super Mario 64, like the painted portraits. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I do get a vibe of that too. Interesting.
So that's cool. That's still coming along. Technically, though, I mean, you could get in there early if you really try, but I'm not endorsing that.
If you're up for it, we'll both sneak in. Okay.
That does seem like something that will definitely happen, though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if before the park officially opens, there's a video of like some random people who broke into the Nintendo area and just like are walking around it, like filming everything.
It's Chevy Chase and his family with a gun to John Candy's head.
Look here. You're going to let me in Super Nintendo Land. We flew halfway across this plague-ridden Earth.
Oh, hold on there, family. I'm afraid Wally World's closed today.
That movie could have been solved in a second. They could have checked their phone and be like, oh, they're closed on the day we're going to get there. Darn.
I know, but alas, the 70s were a different era.
Yeah, a lot of those, like, road trip movies, like, it's funny because, like, all those people get lost with, like, maps now. Like, none of that would happen. You got your smartphone. You just be like, oh, took the wrong way. Make a right up here.
Yeah, they're not going to get, like, go down, like, to take a wrong turn down, like, a dirt road and get, like, murdered or something in the woods.
Well, that's also a horror movie. I'm pretty sure that's on my list.
Well, that's why even like horror movies nowadays, it has to be like, oh no, our phones don't work. We're way too far outside the city or something like that. There has to be some kind of like excuse for why their phones don't work.
That is something I'm actually very ashamed of. Is like I'm not bad with directions, but like I kind of hate that I just GPS everywhere. I wish I could just drive places without like turning it on and just being like, oh, I know how to get there.
Yeah. I think the GPS is one of the greatest inventions in my lifetime at the very least. And And I do try to use it until I become comfortable, and then I do wean myself off of it. Like, for example, coming to work, for the first like week and a half, like after I moved, I used the GPS to get to work, and then like after that, I just slowly stopped using it, and then now I'm good to go. You know, I only ever really use it for new destinations. But yeah, I always wish I learned how to read maps. My dad taught me when I was little, but then by the time he taught me how to do that, and I was able to drive, the GPS was a thing. So I just didn't need it anymore.
I think a big thing with the GPS is also just the convenience factor that you can see things around where you want to go. Like if you look at a map, it doesn't be like, oh, here's Sally's candy shop. Like it doesn't show you where businesses are. Whereas if you go on like Google Maps or any sort of maps program, you can click on different things. And I feel like I discover way more stuff with a GPS though.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's just one of the quality of life things that the GPS offers. Also, as opposed to like, because technically, if you're driving and let's say you're reading a map, you'd have to have like you pull over and then read the map, or have someone read the map to you. But the GPS, it talks for you. It tells you where to turn and stuff like that. So it's overall it's just better than maps.
My grandpa used to just tape the map to half the side of the windshield that he wasn't using.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that sounds very safe.
It's a great strategy. It's a little dark in the car, though, but
yeah.
He is probably only seeing the important parts of the road. That's going to do it for the news this week, guys. Now we're going to move on to our second segment of the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and playing. Mike, why don't you start things off?
All righty then. Well, I guess I actually do have something new to bring to the table for what I watched this week. Of course, Amanda and I have been watching Below Deck because we just can't stop watching it, and it's sickening. But finally, that show's coming to an end because we binge watched everything, so now it's like there's nothing more to watch. However, I did finally start this one show that I've been itching to watch, and the show is called The Boys. It is a show that is on Amazon Prime. Did you talk about this show before, Corey?
I might have. I've never watched it, but I hear nothing but great things.
Okay, yeah. So again, without going into too much of a spoiler, I'll definitely just say like this show so far, like ever since the first episode, it had me hooked. It was kind of like Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad was another show. Like once I watched episode 1, I had to keep watching it. And this show so far has like it has my interest. It definitely started off on a high note, and now it's starting to slow down a little bit. But I'm still intrigued enough that I want to keep watching it. Because now that the story's starting to unfold more, it's like, okay, like now I'm not really like perplexed and amazed. It's more like, okay, like I just want to see where the story goes. But it's still really good. So basically, kind of, again, just a spoiler warning, but I'm not going to go into too much. The Boys basically takes place in modern times where like superheroes are just like they're a real thing, but not so much like Marvel and DC, where like, oh my gosh, like people are surprised by like the Incredible Hulk or like Iron Man, and then they slowly are accepting like, oh, I guess we have like, you know, these superheroes here, or like Superman's like I guess it actually reminds me more of like the DC universe. Well, actually no, you know what? I lied. It's a combination of like the DC universe of how their superheroes are incorporated into the world. It's a combination of Marvel because society has accepted that yes, there is a fighting force that protects humans, and then the unique thing is that they basically take the concept of superheroes and how, you know, we have comic books, movies, merchandise like that still exists, but they're real. So like if you go to like the store, you'll find like their version of Superman, who in this show is called Homelander. So you'll find like his brand clothing in cereal boxes, but it's because he's actually is a real superhero in your world. And the cool thing is this show is actually like it's a very like mature show. So it, you know, it has all like it has a lot of cursing. It has vulgar references. It has nudity. Some things are a little bit like I think go a little bit too far. It kind of falls into like the realm of like Game of Thrones, where they just have like so much cursing and so much nudity that it's kind of like off-putting at first. Like why do you need this nudity in certain places? But I think they were just doing that to kind of like show you like, yes, this is actually like supposed to be like an edgy show like Game of Thrones. But regardless, it starts off really good on a high note where you kind of get introduced to like, yeah, like these superheroes are real. They do like save people on a daily basis, and these people aren't like the usual like, oh, they're not going to hurt you. Like these superheroes will, like if you're a bank robber and you have like a hostage or something, they will kill you. They will like but it won't be like, oh, the Superman, like Homelander, who's like their Superman, won't just punch you and knock you out. Like in the very first episode, like where like basically you get introduced immediately to Homelander, who's their Superman. And I think it's like their version of Wonder Woman, who's called like Maeve or Maeve. Her name's kind of unusual. But basically, they come out and they are just beating the crap out of these like bank robbers to the point where they're like bloody. They beat them to a bloody pulp, and then the bank robbers get these like submachine guns and hold them to these kids' heads like as like hostages. Like, oh, don't come any closer, we'll kill these kids, and then Homelander just uses his laser vision to like melt the gun and melt the guy's hand, and it's like, oh my gosh, like this is way beyond what I would expect from like any of these like modern day DC Marvel movies. So it's supposed to be very like just crazy, but and like basically just kind of like realistic. Like this is what superheroes would be in the real world. And I kind of got some glimpses into like the movie Watchmen, which I didn't really know much about that comic book series, but basically that was like that movie by was it Christopher Nolan? I forget who made those movies. It wasn't Christopher Nolan.
It might have been.
Zack Snyder. Snyder made it.
You're right.
So like basically that was supposed to be like what if superheroes were real, and it's like, man, it's not what it's like it's not what you think about. Like it's not like the comic books, but this show shows like, oh no, it is like the comic books, but then you kind of see like the reality of it where, well, no, like these superheroes are real and they're basically dangerous. Now the thing is though, and here's where the show gets interesting, because superheroes are real, this company basically thinks of superheroes as like a business, where kind of like how like there's like the Avengers, which are like a unified team of superheroes that sitting up in like a giant Avengers tower or whatever. Like there's this company that basically hires superheroes and say, here, you work for us. We have a legal team that will like watch after you, because obviously like as a superhero you might cause like collateral damage. So don't worry, we'll have lawyers that will watch out for you. You can sign deals with people, like you can sign contracts with like Nike to get like so that way like this show's version of the Flash, his name's called A-Train. Like here you can sign a deal with Nike and like you can get your own clothing shoes line and like running shoes line. So it kind of goes into that, but then it gets really interesting because then you learn that these superheroes, as they work for this company, also get like loaned and rented to cities. So like let's say like Detroit is like, oh my gosh, like our city has so much crime. They can come to this company and they say, oh well, you would like this superhero of ours, we'll rent him to you for 3 years at like $100 million a year or something like that. So then this company just monetizes superheroes. And it's yeah, but then to the everyday person, all we know is all these guys are like celebrities. That's the thing. Like they're like celebrities to us, and they're saving the world, and they're saving us every day. And we can buy their T-shirts, we can buy their cereal, we can buy all this stuff. We can go to concerts and see them give speeches. Like it's really it was really interesting. And again, just a bit of a spoiler. The show basically starts off by showing us an ordinary, just everyday person named Huey, and Huey has a girlfriend. Okay, this is where I'm going to be, again, a bit of a spoiler, so please don't listen to me if you don't want to, but this kind of just shows you what the whole point of the show is. And that's why I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but it might be to some people. So Huey has a girlfriend, and we realize that he's in love with his girlfriend. He's just an average Joe working at like a little like computer store in the city. and him and his girlfriend are considering to move in with each other. They're going to start their life, and as they're talking to each other on the street, within this mid-conversation, within a sentence, his girlfriend just explodes. Like, her blood, her spinal cord, her bones just splatter everywhere. And it's all in slow motion, and it's like, what just happened? And apparently, A-Train, who's like this universe's version of the Flash, just runs through her by accident. Just runs through her. She explodes all over Huey, and he's holding her hands in his hand. And A-Train's just like, oh man, I'm so sorry, but I gotta go. And he just takes off and runs away.
Oh my god.
And then this guy's just like, what just happened? Like, so it shows you that, like, this is the real world where, like, people think, oh, don't worry, like, they'll save the day. But, like, no, like, these people with these crazy powers are gonna cause collateral damage. And again, this is where their lawyers come into play. We're like, oh, like, don't worry, here, sign this document. We'll give you $45,000. And then you won't sue us because A-Train was just doing his job. It was just, your girlfriend shouldn't have been standing in the street and everything. So basically,
it's her fault.
That's the driving thing, because now Huey becomes a point where he hates superheroes, like because they basically ruined his life. And then he gets introduced to this character whose name's Butcher. And Butcher, I can't remember, what the hell is the guy who plays his name? I have to look it up. He's the guy, he's in Star Trek and stuff. But basically, Butcher comes to him and says, I know everything that happened to your girlfriend. I know what happened to you. These soup, they call them soups in this. It's kind of like, it's short for superhero. Like, these soups have ruined your life. They've ruined my life. Who the heck is this guy's name? It's gonna drive me crazy. Come on, what's his name? I know it's here. Just tell me who he plays as. Oh my gosh.
Siri, tell him who he plays as.
I know. It's getting on my nerves. Oh my gosh. Here it is. Carl Urban, excuse me. Ugh, gosh, I can't. So that took way too long. But anyway, he was like the only like real major actor that I recognized. But anyway, so he comes to him and says, "I know what you're going through. They ruined your life. Why don't you help me take down the soups?" And he's like, "Well, how are you supposed to do that?" And he kind of says, "Well, I work with the feds, and we know the truth. We know that these superheroes do terrible things, and it gets swept under the rug, and because they don't want the average person knowing about this. So you're going to help me expose the superheroes."
Interesting, cool,
and yeah, it gets pretty cool because so basically that's kind of like the driving force of the show. And I guess again, spoiler: I thought the boys was referring to superheroes, but apparently the boys are Huey and Butcher, and they're the ones that are the boys are this team that are going to expose the superheroes and try to bring them down, so to say. But it's not just get the company to go out of business, because it's more so these superheroes have to die. They are dangerous. They took everything from us. We have to it's kind of like a revenge story. But so far it's really good because things don't go the way as they planned, and the company that actually runs, I think the company is called VOT, that runs this superhero organization. They're corrupt and they're evil, and they obviously are all about the money. They don't care about the average person. They all they care about is monetizing superheroes, to the point where so that way they can make as much money as possible, maybe even rule the world. Because the thing is, as long as they basically hire Homelander, who's their Superman, he kind of gives off the impression that he actually is a good person, but then you realize this guy basically encompasses everything that Batman feared in the Justice League, in whether it be in the series or the movie that no one liked. But Batman always had the mindset that superheroes are a bad thing, because if they ever decide to turn bad, humans can't stop them. That's kind of the thing. We always have these supervillains and the superheroes save us, but Batman always had a contingency plan, because if Superman ever decides that he had a bad day and he wants to go take it out on the Earth, we can't stop him. So that's why this is kind of what the show comes down to, where these superheroes, if they ever wanted to, they could just do whatever they wanted. And that's kind of what the boys are afraid of. like you don't realize like these people seem like they're celebrities, but if they wanted to, they could just kill anybody. Like they could just do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is another reason why it's another reason why they want to form this team and take down the superheroes. So it's pretty interesting because then it also comes down to because then also again I'll end this off that it comes down to, well, how do you kill a superhero? And that's kind of what they have to find out. Like for every superhero, well, how do you kill them? You know, like what is their weakness? What can we do to kill them? And the very first superhero that they do end up succeeding in killing, it's pretty messed up. And I'll leave it at that. You guys, if you guys have Amazon Prime, I highly recommend you watch The Boys. It's so far I'm loving it, and I can't wait to keep watching it.
Nice, awesome.
Sorry, and that's why
I'm glad you're really enjoying it. That's great, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I heard nothing but good things about it. I had some friends telling me it's like it sucked them in when they first started watching it, and it sucked me in too. So, and that's all I've really been watching. And but as far as playing, I have been playing more of. I've been playing more, obviously, Super Mario World with you during our Let's Plays.
Right.
And that's going very well. I'm always enjoying that game. Still playing more of the Minish Cap. I don't really have much more to comment on because I'm still early on in the game, but I could definitely say that I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's just as far as like the mechanic of being able to like shrink down to Minish size, which doubles like the size of the whole map. I think it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. I love the visual art of this game. I love the sound direction. Like there's little like bits of not voice acting, but just like little voice clips and stuff. A lot of charm to it. So I'm still really enjoying it. And then I'm also continuing to play Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. And again, I just completed the Fire Temple. And again, I have to say, like, by replaying this again, I'm really shocked because there are a lot of moments where I just kept getting lost and stuck. Because, like, for example, when you get to the the Fire Temple is like the next hinted dungeon to go to, you can climb up to the top of Death Mountain, which is where the Fire Temple is located, and it's like, okay, well, I'm at the top, and you can't go into the volcano because it's too hot. So if you go down to the Goron City and you talk to the one NPC there, the one Goron, if you I think if you throw a bomb at him, then he'll stop moving, he'll talk to you, and then he gives you like the fire tunic. Okay, cool. Now you can go into the volcano. And then when I went there, I realized, I still can't get there because there's a rock blocking you, and it's a rock that even bombs don't destroy. So then I'm thinking well, what now? Well, I'm trying not to go into I'm trying not to Google the answer because I'm like, I did this before. How the heck do you get into this temple? What am I missing? Like, I'm thinking, like, is there another upgrade that I need? Like, did I miss something? And basically, what I didn't realize is I must have skipped over it, but the very same Goron that gives you the fire tunic, and I'm sure, Corey, you may know this as a Zelda fan. I guess I skipped the part where he's like, there's a secret tunnel in, like, the one room. And I'm like, I probably just, like, I just clicked A fast enough and skipped it. So I had no idea that, and I did, unfortunately, end up having to go on Google and say, like, how the heck do you get into the Fire Temple? And to go, just go into this secret passage. And I'm like, well, what the heck? So... Yeah,
you didn't know about the secret passage?
No, because it was a secret.
I totally didn't know about the secret passage either.
But anyway, so that I did have to cheat just to know, okay, secret passage. But then after that, I went to the Fire Temple. I beat the Fire Temple, and another reason, like, these temples don't really appear to be difficult, but there are just so many times where there's just these little things you gotta keep an eye out for. Because there were, like, I would say I beat the dungeon in, like, maybe, like, a little under an hour, because I kept going in circles in this fire. And the Fire Temple is kind of like separated into like two towers, and I kept like going in circles, thinking, wait, like, how do I get to these doors that are on like the other end of like a big like pile, like a big like lava lake or something inside of the temple? And then it just eventually I just realized, wait, can I jump across this? Because it looks like it's too far away for you to jump. But nope, apparently you can just barely latch onto this by grabbing on by jumping and you grabbing onto the ledge with your fingers and pulling yourself up. And I'm thinking man, it's so to me from playing the game, I'm like, yeah, but these ledges are just so far away that it looks like me jumping and grabbing with my fingers to grab the ledge is like a glitch or something. I'm like, now maybe
That's
again,
like
maybe
that magic pixel.
Yeah, exactly. As if oh my gosh, this is how speedrunners do it. No, but apparently that is just how you do it. I'm pretty sure. And again, Zelda aficionados might be like, oh my gosh, this Mike guy's an idiot. How does he not beat the Fire Temple? Again, I'm an idiot, but it just seemed like as I'm going through the temple, and I'm like, oh, I'm short one key, but wait a minute, these doors just look like I shouldn't be able to get to them. And I'm not sure if maybe that's how they were intended to be designed, but it gave me, I got to run for my money where I'm just going in circles. Then thinking, all right, screw it, I'm going to go jump into this lava pit. And oh wait, no, I did grab the edge, and then I just keep pushing forward, and sure enough, I do get to the end of I get to the next upgrade, and I beat the boss. And I have to say that boss is actually really easy. I was not very impressed with that boss playing it a second time. The fire dragon, what the heck was his name? Yeah, Vol something, Vulcan. I don't know, something like that. But anyway,
Charizard.
Oh yeah, of course it was Charizard. Wait, no, it couldn't be Charizard. He would put up more of a fight than this guy.
He's also not a dragon, so.
Oh yeah, I know. And now all the Pokemon fans listening just started to weeping. But then they remember Pokemon X and Y and Mega Charizard, and then they all get happy again.
Shh, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. We're only Gen 1ers here on Level Up Podcast.
Maybe Gen 2.
Well, yeah, we have to be Gen 2, because that's where Tyranitar comes from. So.
Oh, my king.
Yeah. My king. But anyway, so I got through the Fire Temple, beat the boss, and then I went right to the next area, which is Zora's Domain. And again, the game hints towards that. And I have to say, unlike the Fire Temple, I went to Zora's Domain and I was able to find my way to this ice cavern, and that's where you get the iron boots. And I'm thinking, you know what? This looks as if it was pretty difficult to figure this out, but no, I actually did it pretty easily compared to the Fire Temple. So now my next quest is actually going over to the Water Tunic. Well, actually, no, I think I have to get the Water Tunic. Oh, never mind. That's my next thing. I have to get the Water Tunic, and then I can go to the Water Temple, which we all know is the best temple in all of Legend of Zelda history.
The memes.
Yeah. And I will admit, when I first played when I first played Ocarina of Time, I played it way after everyone else. I knew all the horror stories of the Water Temple and everything, but I'm thinking I'm playing this game for the very first time on the 3DS version with the improved Iron Boots controls and everything. And so I remember doing it. I'm okay. I could understand having the pause, do the pause menu and everything being a pain in the ass, but I don't know. Overall, I thought the Water Temple was fairly challenging, but I didn't think it was that horrible. So again, me playing the game for a second time. Let me see if it's as annoying as before. I do remember loving the soundtrack for that temple. That real cool little almost like a wind chime sound going into the Water Temple. So I'm kind of looking forward to playing that again. Just just to experience it. So hopefully I'll get to that temple pretty soon, and I'll comment on that on the next podcast.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. And as far as playing, that's all I've really been playing. I was looking to possibly playing some more. I definitely want to finish these two Zelda games before I tackle another one. I'm hoping I can beat them before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. That shouldn't be too hard, but who knows? I am pretty bad at this game. And I was even considering going back and playing Breath of the Wild again just to get myself prepped for the sequel. But again, we'll see.
But anyway, got that Corey, prequel coming up later this year.
Yes, I will. Oh, that's right. How can I forget? Yes, I have to play that next. All right, so I have to beat these two games so I can dedicate my time to.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, I gotta get myself ready to play Age of Calamity, which I really don't think will be that long because I beat the original Hyrule Warriors in a couple of sit downs, so I mean, unless this story structure, based on Breath of the Wild might prolong the game. I mean, I kind of hope so because again, I like my games being meaty, but so we'll see.
I mean, we already know the end of the story, so why even play Age of Calamity? Am I right?
Well, what I mean, like Zelda gets saved, all of the champions survive and prevail, and they go back to their villages and have a nice glass of ale. I mean, that's how it ends, right?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, cool. I can't wait to play the game then and see it for myself.
I actually love.
What was that?
I was gonna say I actually love how like the internet has been going super hard with the like. Did you see that recent trailer where they showed those other two like characters from Breath of the Wild, like young, like the like scientist Impa guy, and then the other old lady with the glasses. Like there's like
oh yeah, it was Rodney. I think his name's actually like Rodney.
I think it is Rodney.
Yeah. Like no Ridley jokes here. I think his name's actually Rodney, and then there's like Pura or Puri.
That's
I forget.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's fun. Like showing all the younger versions of them. That's cool.
Yeah.
Same with like Impa, of course.
Yeah, you hear that guy? It's not just a young Impa for all you weirdos out there. Now you can fantasize over young Pura and young Rodney.
Oh man, his eyes have been that bad since the beginning. He still has those like technical goggle things. That's pretty much what I need at this point. Are you all done then? Should I take the mic?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I went a little too long there. What have you been watching and playing, Corey?
Guys, I am very sorry to inform you all that I have not watched any anime this past week. I should take the hoodie off right now.
And you call yourself an anime fan?
Yes. Very sorry. Okay, I've been a busy man, as I usually am. And B, I have been actually more interested right now in watching horror movies, specifically just because of the month, So, I have a few movies that I'd like to talk about here. Quite frankly, one of the scariest things I watched this whole week, the Yogi Bear movie from like 2011.
Wait a minute. I want to say I remember this. Here, keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
So I didn't want to watch this. This was my girlfriend's choice, but I'm not throwing any shade her way. This is not an insult. I just told her, I'm like, look, I've never seen this. I have really no interest of seeing it, but I'll watch it with you because I'm your boyfriend. I love you. I'll watch whatever you want to watch. And she's like, yeah, I remember I used to like this when I was younger. I'm like, okay, let's watch it. I stand by my statement and say those CG bears are pretty horrifying.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting some Five Nights at Freddy's vibes.
A little bit, yeah.
It's actually all coming back to me now. Like I remember Dan Aykroyd was supposed to voice
right,
him, and I'm like,
he is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna say next. Is the only like notable people in this movie are Dan Aykroyd as Yogi Bear, and then I think Justin Timberlake is Boo Boo. It's like
somehow,
what?
Yeah.
That's such a weird casting.
I know.
Yeah, that movie, I didn't enjoy it. No offense to my girlfriend.
It's just funny when you're like, yeah, I didn't like it.
I mean, I don't remember how I feel like she kind of was in like the same boat where she's like, yeah, this wasn't as good as I remembered, because we were kind of like the whole time we were watching it, I kept saying like, these bears are horrifying. I can't overlook how creepy they look. And I don't know why I have a problem with this, because I ended up going into like Hanna-Barbera. I'm like, were they trying to build some sort of MCU because they had those Scooby-Doo live action ones, which were great. I didn't mind how Scooby-Doo looked in those movies, but yeah, something about the bears, they were just weird. And also I thought this it was too old at the time. Like, it came out in 2011. Who really wanted to go see a Yogi Bear movie? Like, who even is Yogi Bear in 2020?
I want to say it came out during that time where weren't there a couple with just random remakes? Like, they brought back the Smurfs. They
probably did Rocky and Bullwinkle for the 15th million time.
I for a second there I was starting to think you're right, but there was a live action version of that movie, and that I remember being very bad.
I think that was in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was like 2001 or something. Yeah, now I have to look it up because I remember that movie being very bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't really get Yogi Bear. It's weird. I mean, I can't even remember watching the actual cartoon. I'm sure that was more like charming and funny, but yeah. I don't know. I didn't like it. Bears were horrifying.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the cast for Rocky and Bullwinkle. I'm sorry to interject this game.
No, please.
Jason Alexander was Boris, the little like short like German guy or Russian guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And Randy Quaid was in this movie. Who the heck was he? Captain Von. Robert De Niro was like the one like main Nazi guy, whatever, with the eye patch. I don't know what the hell his name was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, like, wait, like these people were in the movie. Oh, and and Renee Russo was Natasha. That's kind of funny.
All right. Yep.
Interesting. Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress.
Time.
Yeah.
And no, you're quite all right. I will gladly go down a rabbit hole of other old, obscure, live-action animated movies. What about that one? I think it was called like Looney Tunes Back in Action. It was like kind of like Space Jam, but they were more like 3D. Look it up on your own time. I digress. We're not here to talk about that, all right?
I do remember that movie too.
That looks like the artwork I was just making like a thumbnail or something for Super Mario 64, like the box art cover. Like I feel like that's kind of what those renders remind me of.
Oh my gosh, I just realized this. Bullwinkle is just a brown Yoshi. That's all he is.
You're right. He's got antlers.
He's a brown Yoshi.
Someone
with
call
antlers.
Nintendo. And these squint your eyes. Rocky is just Mega Man.
Mega.
Yoshi and Mega Man.
And that's the title drop of the episode. Oh my god. What the heck?
All right. So yes, Yogi Bear 2011, horrible. Don't watch it. Now we get into the horror movies. I know everyone is very excited for this. Grab your popcorn, grab your blanket to hide under. It's about to get spoopy up in here. So I watched the first Friday the 13th movie. I'm going to just make a very big spoiler right away. This movie came out in the 80s, so, bear with me. But I never realized that this movie doesn't even have Jason in it. I mean, he technically is in it for like a second, but it's mainly about his mom. I don't know if you ever saw the Friday the 13th movies, but
I can't say that I never saw the original, so I'm actually a little shocked to know that it's more. It sounds like almost like as if the very first movie was an origin story.
Yes, I believe, and I mean they did it very smart because I will say this: the movie's also very well done. It is what I would expect this slasher thriller type movie would be. A lot of like point of view, like filming, like first person of like I assume the killer's perspective. You had a lot of that that was still in the movie. Great, loved it. It always was creepy, and we had a great time. I really actually enjoyed the first Friday the 13th movie. But it is what you expect of that like teen, little cheesy, campy like slasher movie. I just didn't realize that Jason isn't here yet, and I would like to progress down the Friday the 13th rabbit hole and, actually see the proper Mr. Voorhees with the hockey mask and the machete. We'll get there, though. Next up, I saw 3D. That's the 7th one.
I was going to say, I was kind of hoping you watched the first one. It's the best one.
No, it's very confusing. Well, I have seen it, and I agree with you. The first one is the best one. But, yeah, there's, Saw 1 through 6. Then they did Saw 3D, which is the 7th one. Because there was also a trend in the early 2010s where people were making 3D movies again. So, yeah, they had a Saw 3D. And then there's one more, which I believe is the last one. Well, right now it's the last one, called Jigsaw. So Saw 3D, probably the worst Saw movie in the whole trilogy, or whatever you call it. I can't I'm just trying to kind of give you a vague description of it. The thing that makes Saw the most interesting to me is how they kind of intertwine this elaborate story with Jigsaw himself and his accomplices, and how he set up these games and how the people are related to it. I really don't like the murder fetishism aspect of it. I mean, I really don't like seeing a lot of like blood and guts to begin with. But it's that story and the characters that kind of draw me to it. Also, I like kind of just seeing the messed up things that people created, like the games. That intrigues me.
Yeah, I agree. That was like even in like the later movies that I didn't really like that much. The best part were just like the games and the traps.
Because they get very creative and like, oh come on, like what is this?
It does get a bit ridiculous, but they're still kind of entertaining to watch, you know.
So the main thing here with this one is it follows this one guy who essentially built a career off of saying that he was in a Jigsaw game and he survived, and how he's like became this like evangelical type character, like helping people, supporting people. There are a lot of other people who come up to him and be like, oh, I know your story. I was in a game and survived. And he's kind of like marketing that the best way he can. And it turns out he's a big ass liar. And Jigsaw knew that. And you kind of just follow him through all these games as other people who are kind of related to this, who may know that he was lying. And even in some cases don't know he was lying. And yeah, I think the thing that made me really not care for this movie is just some of the motivations of some of the other characters, which I won't get too into because it is the 7th movie if people are watching Saw, you know. The other thing I said wasn't really a major spoiler. You learn that pretty quickly. But yeah, I don't know. Like this one was also the one where I could actually be like, okay, now you guys literally just made this to milk out the franchise and make more movies. I get it. Being the 7th movie and also in 3D. Also, the 3D effects are still cheesy. You know, I see all the bits where it like comes at the screen and you always, at least me, I always just go, oh, it's supposed to be 3D. I get it, guys. Look, it's a 3D bit.
Did you ever watch the Three Stooges 3D movie, I guess? Like, it was actually like back like in the old times, like in the 30s and the 40s, and the Three Stooges were doing like their TV shows and stuff. They had their own it wasn't actual 3D, but it was like those corny, like the corniness of how like the knife gets thrown at the screen. They did that back in the 40s.
Oh, I love
where
that.
Like where you should look it up. Like where they have like a knife on like a string, like flying towards the camera. It's pretty bad. And you hear like.
That's great. That's awesome. Like Jaws 3D. If you ever seen that, it also gets very cheesy. There's like a syringe that they put towards the screen, and they shoot some of the little like medicine or whatever out. Like, ooh.
Oh my lord.
And the classic scene of like Jaws like coming towards the screen and it actually like shatters. You know, that's fun. This shark is gonna attack you in the theater, even though it's a giant shark, so it would technically die because there's no water. I love Jaws. All right. I'm kind of seeing a trend here that I watched some not great movies this week. Next up on my list, I watched Transylvania 6-5000. Have you ever heard of this movie?
No, can't say I have. I was going to say I wanted to say I heard it, but like no, never have. Please tell me what this is about.
You could give it a Google. I think I might have heard of this once before. It's like the number 6-5000. And the only reason I really clicked on this is because it stars one Jeff Goldblum as like one of the main characters. And basically the plot of this movie is they're like reporters and their boss is like watching the Frankenstein like movie. And he's like, I want you guys to go investigate Transylvania and see if this Frankenstein character is true because they want something to, you know, make their paper more interesting. And, you know, they're all like, oh, that's not a real place, though. It's just a movie, right? And he's like, no, you got to find it. You got to go there. And, like, they end up going there. I mean, I'm going to pretty much spoil the whole movie. And they end up going there. And, like, there's this weird, like, every character is, like, pretending like Transylvania is like fine and it's not that scary, but they all kind of have like a little bit of like evil energy in them. Like if you would give it on a scale of 1 to 10, their evil is like 1 or 2, where they just kind of do like mischievous pranks, but it's not like hurting anyone. Like there's the old like the one bellhop is being like shooed out of the room and he puts his foot in the door and he starts yelling and then it's like, oh, it's a fake foot, haha, you know. So little pranks like that. and they all have like weird little accents. Like they almost seem like henchmen or like wizards or witches. It's very bizarre.
I have to say, like, I definitely have never seen this movie before, nor have I heard of it.
They look like they're just dressed like normal people. They're not like in costumes. They're in like, I don't know, just typical like attire in the 80s or whatever.
I can kind of picture like Dracula wearing like a suit and tie. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, guys?"
But what ends up happening is that they end up finding like all these horror monsters in the town of Transylvania. Like there's like a wolf man, there's like a Frankenstein, there's like this like Dracula who's like this sexy lady, and like they are real, but they're not necessarily the monsters. It's like, oh, the guy who's Frankenstein was like someone who lived there who had like some sort of bad like head injury, so now he just kind of walks around like it's almost like a folk tale kind of. And then the wolf man is just like, it looks like a man, like just a Chewbacca guy, but he can talk. And it's just like there was some like hair growth serum that like went wrong that made him all hairy, and he's like ashamed. He doesn't want to like talk to anyone. I forget. I forget what was up with the Dracula girl, but I don't know, guys. It was just like very boring. It was definitely supposed to be a comedy. The humor was just a little too dry for me. I wasn't really like laughing at it too much. I'm the kind of person though who I don't really like shut off a movie. I'll see it to the end because you never know what you'll find. Like there could be a nugget of gold in there somewhere, but unfortunately this movie didn't really do it for me. It's kind of bad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It happens sometimes. But last but not least, and I saved the best for last. Have you ever heard of the movie Creepshow? I
have. Yes. Another one of those, as you mentioned, I think anthologies.
That's correct. So I've heard of the name Creepshow or title, whatever you want to call it, but I never really knew what it was. And I was just scrolling through my buddy's Plex server, and he has a ton of movies on there. And I read like the synopsis of it, how it's an anthology, like 5 different stories, and I saw it's got Stephen King and George Romero working on it, and I was like, yo. That's like 2 great directors. I want to watch this as like a horror themed thing, and I love anthologies. It literally stopped me in my tracks as I was looking through what I wanted to watch. I'm like, I'm going to watch this right away. And I loved it. It was great. So I guess it's inspired off the Creepshow comic book series that they did back in the day. And they were literally just like little short anthology stories in a comic book, and they'd be like horror themed. So the movie is like 5 little stories with like one small story also like connecting them all, and it's really cool. They do like a really fun way of like, there's a lot of like scenes that they cut of like turning a page of a book, or they go from like panel to panel. Some might think that's a little cheesy, but I enjoyed how it was done. It's also got like this nice animation. Like all the stories are live action, but then there's like this animated like ghoul ghost figure who's kind of like your host, who will go through each of the stories. And like between each of the little anthology movies, there's these cool transitions where we'll kind of like zoom out of the comic, and then there'll be like a little animation, and it will flip to a page of the story that's about to tell, and there'll be a nice big like title page. It was really well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, though.
And personally, for me, you judge me all you want, guys, but some of those movies actually really like freak me out, especially how like in the 80s and 90s they did a lot of those practical effects. Like some of those masks and costume designs are really horrifying to me personally. And there were some really creepy moments in this movie, particularly one. There's like these like zombie creatures, and like somehow they get like water in their like lungs, and like they can talk though, and there's just this like horrifying like way that they talk where it's like, that's, I don't know, it's like what a drown,
like a gargling sound, right? Or...
yeah, and it's kind of horrifying. Like I don't know why that's something that stuck out and like horrified or scared me, but it was just like, that's like, it's done so well, it's scaring me. But yeah, Creepshow is great, go watch it. There's also a sequel which I plan to watch soon. I really enjoyed it though.
Nice, yeah. I'm glad you watched it. Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies that like when people talk about it, it's like, oh wow, like you watched that movie too, and yeah, it's pretty neat. The one that kind of creeped me out was I I don't know why. It was kind of disturbing. Was like that moss that like grew all over the person.
Oh yeah, that one was very disturbing.
Yeah, that one was weird.
Oof. Yeah, they're all good little stories. I don't want to spoil them all, but yeah, they're great. That's all I really watched though. So I'm gonna head into my gaming section here. I'm kind of gonna. This is like breaking the fourth wall here, but I'm gonna change how I talk about my games I've ordered here. So I continue to play through like Animal Crossing and Smash. I don't really have much else to say about that right now. I did want to point out, because I haven't talked about this in like the past few weeks, but I have been slowly still grinding away at Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu with my boy Abra Gaming over at Loudstone Entertainment. Go check out their YouTube channel. We have a lot of episodes that are soon going to be going up. And on our last session of the Let's Play, we actually made it to Cerulean City. And oh no, wait,
Celadon City, you mean?
Okay, no, wait, I might be confused. Is Celadon where Erica is, the fourth gym leader?
Yes.
Okay, and then you said Celadon's where Erica is, right?
Yeah, and then there's Saffron City. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. So we were in like the Rocket hideout in Celadon City, and we got like the Sylph Scope. We ended up fighting Giovanni. That was cool.
Oh yes.
And then we got out of there. And something that they did really weird that I didn't know is in that like gaming like casino. That's like all like not there anymore. It's all like an arcade like thing because they don't want to promote gambling, I guess, to kids. So now if you go in there, it's literally just like a bunch of the arcade cabinets that you'd see in like a Japanese like arcade, like back to back. And you can talk to a couple people and they're like, yeah, I love playing this Pokemon puzzle game, or I love playing this Pokemon fighting game. It's like, this used to all be just casinos and pachinko or whatever. I just thought that was funny that they got rid of that or like edited it. But yeah, after we did that, it took me a moment to remember how to get to the Cerulean City gym, but we got there, and then there was a little maze in between to get to Erica, but luckily we had our boy Healit, which is our Charmeleon, excuse me, and we pretty much plowed through that gym, and then we made it to Saffron City, and we're just like in the midst of getting there, like exploring how to like do everything in there. You know, Saffron City, one of the greatest stages in Super Smash Brothers history.
Oh yes.
That game's wonderful. I really, truly am loving Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I think it's honestly a very good game.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think I would enjoy it so much if it didn't have like the Pokemon Go feature. I think that's. Again,
I could see that. Yep,
cool.
It'd be a better game. I agree.
Yeah, like it's cool. Like I think visually the game looks great. Like I think this would be like an amazing. Like if they made it just as a remake, I'd be like, oh wow, this looks great. But just because it has the whole Pokemon Go feature for capturing Pokemon and stuff, I'm like, yeah, it looks fun, but it's definitely more, again, as we've mentioned many times, it's gimmicky towards the Pokemon Go fans, but still really cool. I'm very happy that you're enjoying the Let's Play.
I also think it's quite humorous how in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you always have your Pikachu and Eevee with you, and because of that, they're the ones who get the TM moves. So Pikachu or Eevee will learn how to do like, or is it HMs?
How to
always
fly.
Get these confused.
Yeah, learn how to fly and stuff, right?
Or cut. And they always have like weird ways of explaining how that works. Like for example, when Pikachu learned how to cut, he
got scissors.
you literally learn it from like the one like captain on the one ship who has like a sword. He's like, I'll teach your Pikachu a chopping technique, and it's like what? And then like in Cerulean City, or Celadon City, sorry, I'm getting very confused. When you there's like this dude just actually no, it's in Saffron City. I'm getting very confused. In Saffron City, there's like this guy, or no, it's in Cerulean.
Yeah, you're really confused.
It's in Celadon City, where Erica is, the fourth gym.
Yeah.
Outside of the arcade. I'm sorry, it's been like almost a week since we played. Forgive me, listeners. But yeah, there's just a guy with a chair with a bunch of balloons, and I'm like, is that how Pikachu learns fly? And lo and behold, it is. I don't know if I trust Pikachu.
It's going to take you a pretty darn long time to travel. I'm like, all right, Pikachu, get your balloon ready and just slowly.
Well, it's like a couple balloons. Also, I don't know if I trust Pikachu piloting this aircraft. Like, does he have a license? He's only level 38.
You actually just reminded me of the Pokemon Snap balloon Pikachu.
Oh, yeah. I love the Surfing Pikachu and the Flying Pikachu, like those Pokemon cards. Those are awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome. Yeah, this is immediately what I thought of when you said that. Again, this works great for the podcast because all the listeners can see this. But yeah, Pokemon Snap balloon Pikachu.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. Like, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee could have been, like, way better if it was just a true remake of, like, Red and Blue or Red and Green, whatever. Because it is kind of like a sequel, which I really like, but yeah, it's those capture or Pokemon Go capture elements aren't great, you know. All right.
Yeah.
So next I want to talk about randomly, like a week or two ago, I got an email from my internet provider, which is Xfinity, and they're like, "Here's your code to get in the Black Ops Cold War beta," and I'm like, "What? How did they know I wanted that?" So I ended up entering it, and it was for like this past weekend. It started on Thursday, and that's kind of what I ended up doing most of my week and weekend. I played a lot more of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War beta. I don't really have too much to say about this because I talked about this like a few weeks ago when I played the alpha. It's pretty much, you know, they haven't really changed too much. I assume this is more of what the product's going to look like considering it comes out in a month. They added like a little more like polish to it. There's like more sound effects in like some of the animations and when you get medals and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is shaping up to be like pretty fun and pretty nice. I will say the one thing that is like a very diversity. The thing that's a dividing factor, that's what I'm trying to say. Forgive my... Divisive. Forget my English. I'm getting tired, guys. Is this thing called skill-based matchmaking. And in some Call of Duty games, they have it. Some don't. Basically, what it means is that you will be paired with other players who are roughly about your skill level, you know, and that Call of Duty takes into account, like, all your matches you played, like, I guess how well you did at your win-loss and stuff like that, and we'll kind of try to put you against similarly matched players. And in theory, you're like, well, yeah, that's how the game should be, right? And you're not wrong, but it does kind of remove, like, some of the fun factor about Call of Duty, because I would think that a lot of people just really want to get in here and try to do, like, super well, like, get, like, 20 kills and not die, get all their kill streaks, and just, like, pretty much, like, pub stomp. But with skill-based matchmaking, that doesn't really happen. It's very much more like tight games where it's like, you know, you're probably going to die more than you'd like to. And it's like, it's very much like, okay, well, you got to play these games very seriously. They're not as like chill as they once used to be. And, you know, I don't necessarily think this is a bad feature to be in the game, but I will say it does sometimes hinder me wanting to continue playing the game. Because of how like good the other players are, I'll be like, okay, well, this is fun, but I get more burnt out of it easier because I'm not like necessarily doing as well. One of the things that I do really like that they did with Black Ops Cold War is they brought like a lot of the elements and gameplay mechanics from Modern Warfare. One of the things I really like is you can unlock attachments for like every part of your gun. So there's like, you know, the tip of the gun, you can change like the muzzle or a silencer, then you can change the barrel, then you can change like the grip under there, then you can change the magazine, you can change like the handle where the trigger is, you can change the stock, you can change like the sight. Like literally everything can almost be modified, which is really cool. And how you unlock all that stuff is as you use that weapon, it levels up, and as it keeps leveling up, you pretty much always get a perk or a attachment every time it levels up. So you kind of have like this natural, at least for me, like I always wanted to keep going back, and I always kept switching up between weapons. I'm like, oh, I want to work on leveling up my XM4. Oh, I want to work on leveling up my AK-47. And I kind of love that aspect of this game and what they did even last year with Modern Warfare. Other than that, I think the maps were pretty fun. I like the size of them. They're like kind of small, so you usually are always getting in a lot of like combat, and I think it's paced pretty well. The sound is a little weird, but I want to say, it's early in the game. A lot of players don't have access to perks like dead silence that would like hinder stuff like that. Not everything's available to us, so I have limited amounts of data on how I could critique this, but overall, I really liked it. I enjoyed my time with it, but at the end of the day, it is pretty much just like Call of Duty. You get kills, you get kill streaks. It's very fast paced combat, but it's fun. I like it.
Neat, man.
And then last but not least, I actually finished a game this week. Me and Megan finished Dead Rising 2. The more I played of Dead Rising 2, the more I started to realize that Dead Rising 2 is probably one of my top games ever. I absolutely adore that game. I think it's paced really well. I think the gameplay is super solid. I think it still holds up even though the game's like 10 years old. The only thing that's a little annoying is the timer, but that's kind of like the whole thing of the game where you can't, with the thing that annoys me just about the timer is you can't do everything, like that's kind of how they add replayability because, you can't go save these survivors or you can't fight this psychopath because you don't have enough time to also do your main quest or give your daughter Katie Zombrex. So it's annoying, but I understand it. And like I said, it adds replayability. Like you can be like, oh, well, this time I'm going to go back and play through this. And the game is pretty short. I want to say we probably beat it in about 10, 12 hours. But yeah, hell of a game. A lot of fun, like bosses. And again, like it's just a very like corny, like 80s movie with a lot of one-liners and stuff. But I love it. I think it's great. And I had a blast playing through it. I truly adore that game. I think it's fantastic. Also had a really good moment with my girlfriend where she was like, I never actually beat the final boss of the game. And I'm like, well, now you're going to this time because we're playing like back and forth. I'm like, here, you can just beat the final boss. It's okay. And she actually ended up doing it. I feel bad the way I said it. Like, oh, she actually did it. Can you believe how bad she is? But that's not what I mean. Like I just mean she was able to do it. And she was like very proud. And I'm like, yeah, you did. Good job.
Interesting.
I didn't mean for that to be condescending.
I kind of want to get a game try too.
So it's weird because this is the sequel. This isn't Dead Rising 1, and we're actually probably going to go back to Dead Rising 1. And some people might say they prefer Dead Rising 1, but I think the sequel is probably the best one. I think it has a lot of fun, like the environment being that mall and casino. I think the combo weapons had a lot of nice diversity, and there's a lot of fun ones you can make. I mentioned there's a laser sword that's pretty much a lightsaber. There's a lot of good ones in there, and I just think it's a really solid, fun game. And there's a lot of like bonus content in there if you really want to. Like, I barely got any of the trophies. There's like, I know you can get like a Proto Man outfit for Chuck that has like
nice.
a shield and a Mega Buster. Capcom puts some love into those games. So yeah, man, it was great. I'm looking forward to whatever else I'm going to play next. I loaded up some more spoopy games on my PS4 in my living room, so we're probably going to pick away at something else there.
Yes, I definitely want to get some Halloween themed or spoopy themed games ready for Halloween coming up.
But with that being said, that was my week. We are now going to move on to the last part of the podcast, which is your questions. All right, listeners. You have two ways to email or send us questions. One way is email. You can send a question in to the levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com. These questions can be about anything: video games, collectibles, food, life. You got a problem, send me and Micah. We'll help you. We're licensed physicians, and I don't know why I said physicians. My brain is deteriorating.
All right, Corey, let's not lie. We're licensed pizza critics.
I'm a certified pizza critique and milkshake critique. All right. So mail me and Mike your pizza and your milkshakes. We'll try them when we get them in the mail. Guaranteed.
And we'll tell them that they are just not as good as the meatball variant.
Sadly, yes. But yeah, email us about whatever you'd want. Or if that's not your thing, you can go to our Instagram account, Level With Me Podcast, and every Monday evening or in the middle of the day, we'll put up a little questionnaire, and if we read your question, which we probably will, you'll get a shout out. Now, Mike, do we have any questions this week?
Why, Corey? Yes, we do. We have sadly just one, but I'll give you a nickel if you can guess who it's from.
Is it Ronald McDonald?
All right. Well, I guess I owe you a nickel.
Sucker!
I
told him to email or to send in a question.
You scammed me. But this wouldn't be the level with the podcast if it didn't have a question from one of our best fans, Owen Reese.
Owen! Thank you, Owen.
The man, the myth, the legend.
What's he got for us this week?
Once again, I had to respond to his question just in like a private message and say it is just, once again, an awesome question. Owen asks us, what is the worst quest in any game we ever had to play?
Oh man, that's a good one. The worst.
He always
has
good
quest. Oh gosh.
I think I have to think about this. We might. You might need to edit this part out as we're thinking, because I don't know. It might take some time. Oh man.
2 hours later.
Yeah.
I think I got. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Something that pops into my head right away, it's not very specific, but I hate whenever you play any like RPG or JRPG where like the first like hour is all tutorial and it's just like very like bland and boring and it's like hand-holdy. It's like, I know how to play the game. Just let me play the game. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 has a really bad like hour to 2 hour chunk before you actually just play Kingdom Hearts 2. And it's got story elements in it, but it's just so annoying. It takes so long. I'm trying to think of a better answer, though. I mean, one could say the Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild, all you get is golden poo. Like, what's the point of doing that other than being like, look, the number is the highest it could be.
Yeah, but it's fun finding them. I definitely think there's a lot of truth into what you're saying about like tutorials and stuff in games. Like they can just drag on way too long. This is definitely not my answer, but I did just get reminded of Zelda games having pretty bad tutorials. And I will say this again. This is not my answer because I have my answer now. But this is a good like a notable mention, or what are they called? An honorable mention. Excuse me. Is Skyward Sword's tutorial, the beginning of that game. It's a great game, believe me. And the tutorial is not bad, but it's just so long. So long. Like, I remember, like, I replayed that game several times, and I remember every single time I dreaded that tutorial. I hate it. I wish I could just skip it so bad. Because it's just constantly people saying, oh, Link, let's teach you how to run. It's like, I know how to run. Like, stop teaching me how to run.
You know, that does kind of actually happen in Twilight Princess too. There's a pretty extensive like beginning part before you can actually just go explore. Yeah,
that's another one. I played the game many times, and yeah, Twilight Princess's tutorial can be a little tedious. But I will say I do have my answer.
Okay.
And this is probably not going to apply to everyone, but it did apply to me, and it happened twice. This is why. Okay. So my answer is Final Fantasy VII. There is a, again, I guess spoiler for those who haven't played it yet. And towards the middle of the entire game, you get to the point where you're traveling to, I think it's called the City of the Ancients. It's like basically where Aerith, where she dies. Again, spoiler warning. To get there, you actually have to find like I forget what the item is, but you're basically near this like boneyard that leads to a forest, and you can't get through the forest because similar to the Super Mario 64 endless stairway. You'll get lost in the forest forever, and you can never progress. And you have to find some item that's supposedly sitting in the ground at this like I call it a boneyard. It's more of like an excavation site, and I remember that the guy says, oh yeah, like this random item will get you through the forest, and it's buried here somewhere. And I just remember I can't forget it. It was the very first time I'm playing this game. And again, I love that game, but I'm playing it and I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess I gotta start digging around. And it's a really strange mechanic for like excavating. Like I think you have to pay the guy money every time you do it too, because you can get like multiple attempts where like you pay the guy some money, he'll say, yeah, pick a spot on this map and we'll dig for you, and then this takes like about like 20 seconds every single time you do it. And there's like it's like the same little sequence, and again you can't skip it. It's like, oh, the guy, like, it goes to nighttime, you see a guy digging, and then it's the next morning, and then there's a chest next to you, and it's like, oh, open the chest, and then you'll get like random stuff, like, oh, look, I found a potion. It's like, oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the MacGuffin. I forget what it's called. Like, but again, subscribers and listeners, you can put it in the comments below. I forget what it is, but I remember doing that, and I did it for like, no lie, Corey, like 2 hours. I think 2 hours.
Gosh.
I remember I was like 9 or 10 years old playing this game, and I'm playing it on like the big family TV, whatever, or like, you know, just like the big family CRT TV in the living room. And I'm like, okay, well, I gotta beat this game, and I'm like, I want to know where is this stupid item, and I had company coming over. So I'm like, my dad's like, Mug, you better put that game on. But Dad, I'll put it down as soon as I find this stupid item. I remember it was like 2 hours, and like I had like my aunts and uncles coming over, and I'm still playing that. I'm still playing Final Fantasy, and of course, when they're sitting there watching me play it as I'm trying to finish it, they're like, Mike, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, I'm trying to tell them, I know this looks stupid, but I'm just trying to find this stupid item.
That's so funny.
It's so bad, and then eventually I found it. It must have been like close to 2 hours, and then eventually, a couple years later, I remember I did my second Let's Play. Like my second Let's Play or playthrough of this game. I called it a Let's Play. It's not that. Just like, you know, like me playing the game for a second time. I didn't do a Let's Play, a Let's Play of it. But I remember when I got to that scene, and I'm like, okay, this part's gonna suck, because I forgot where the stupid spot was that I found that item in, and I thought it was in this one spot, and I'm like, oh, it must be randomized then. And I think it took me like maybe more like a half an hour or whatever, but like it's just that sequence of like it just drove me nuts, and I hate it. I think even right now, if I were to go back and do it, I'm going to be like, you know what? Nope. I'm going to Google. I'm looking up where that spot is, because I'm not going through that painstaking sequence of going through here and spending money. I'm pretty sure the guy charges you like 500 gil per attempt or something. So like, hopefully, like if you ran out of money, all the potions you got in your treasure chest, you could just, you know, from all the failed attempts, you can just sell them and like keep trying to dig. It's so stupid. So when that is that is my least favorite like quest in any video game ever. Oh my gosh, I'm getting like PTSD now thinking about it.
Man, how am I supposed to top that? I don't know.
was it really that bad?
I mean, that was just a good answer. I feel like I can't really like think of any right now. I'll kind of just restate, like, I mean, it's kind of broad, but yeah, just the thing of like where in beginning RPGs, like sometimes they hold your hand way too much, and it's like, okay, just let me go play the game. I know how to play, you know. Another one that I was gonna say, and you know, it's kind of funny because I was playing a lot of Dead Rising and praising it, but I usually do hate like those fetch quest type thing, or not fetch quests, but like when you have to like accompany people like who have to like come with you, like the AI controlled, like.
Oh yeah,
because sometimes
an escort quest. I guess
that's what I'm looking for. Yes, like those are usually horrible. I will say in Dead Rising, one of the things that really helps you is there's a dedicated button to yell at your survivors coming with you that they'll like kind of automatically like follow you like a dog or something. You can also even just like aim at the ground and press triangle, and it will be like Chuck will yell like go over there, and then like they'll run there. But yeah, usually those quests are horrible. I'm trying to just go through all the different quests I've done, and like I was thinking a lot of like the Bethesda games like Skyrim and Fallout. I'm blanking on like some of those quests though, because there's so many different ones. And even like what you were saying about like Zelda games, like they all have like a bunch of different RPG quests and stuff like that in there. Yeah, maybe I'll have a better one next week, Owen. A more specific one, I guess I should say.
I think that's a pretty good answer, though.
All right.
Yeah, I think Owen will be satisfied with that.
I'll take the layup. Thank you, Owen.
Yes, Owen, once again, thank you very much for your question. We appreciate it.
And that is going to do it for the podcast, guys. If you'd like to follow our content, please follow our podcast on Podbean, Spotify, pretty much wherever you would listen to podcasts. We also put them on YouTube. Go give our YouTube channel a subscribe. I was almost going to say subscription. We've been putting up a lot of videos up there. I've been putting up more Mario 64, more Luigi's Mansion 3, and Remnant from the Ashes. And Mike has been steadily uploading his Super Mario World playthrough as well as his Minish Cap playthrough. And we've been doing very well on content.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually am impressed with us. We've been doing pretty good for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been trying to just get into a rhythm of, okay, put a video up every day, you know. I am a little sad I didn't get around to recording more of the games I'm Let's Playing in the previous week, but it's all right, you know. Take it day by day.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to... I mean, I have a couple of videos like they're currently being uploaded and they're scheduled for release, but I do want to get more done for Zelda especially, so I can have some more videos ready for you guys.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And if you would like to follow our individual channels and content and platforms, whatever you want to call them, I am GameBro Corey everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I really want to get back to streaming on Twitch. So I would just give my account a follow. I'm probably gonna hop on there very soon. Twitch.tv/GameBroCorey. I don't know what I'm gonna be streaming, honestly. But
some more Mario 64.
Well, I'll probably play it offline. But
all right.
Maybe something else. What about you, Mike?
You should play some more Among Us. Have you played that game yet?
Okay, so I was thinking about that game today. I was gonna talk about this now that you brought that up.
Whoops.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't know. Like, I've just been having like a weird, like, I haven't really been drawn to go back to play that game for some reason. Like, I only really played like 2 or 3 rounds, I think, with a couple of my friends, and it was fun. But I don't know, there's just like something there that hasn't like drawn me to actually go back. But I have been thinking about it a lot because I'm in a Discord group where the friends I played with, like, they always are messaging like, oh, we're going to do some Among Us tonight or something like that. And I would like to actually play with them. I feel bad for always like canceling. My girlfriend usually just gets home like kind of later, so I like to spend time with her, and that's usually when they play. But yeah, I would like to play more Among Us, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those games I haven't really played yet, but I'm just loving all the memes about it. And I've been watching people play.
Oh yeah, it's a hilarious game.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring it up earlier in the podcast too, and I forgot. So, better late than never.
That's quite all right. Look, guys, I'm getting tired over here. My brain's turning to goop. Mike, do you want to plug the rest of your stuff and we can get out of here?
Absolutely. So if you guys ever want to see me any more of my content specifically, you can find me at The Collector's Vault, and that's on YouTube and Instagram. And again, if you guys like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, anything collectible, old retro video games and stuff, you can come over. I do a lot of like videos where I pick up fun, cool things, talk about the market, and make other little dumb jokes. And yeah, definitely check out our YouTube for our Let's Plays. Check out Corey's Twitch stream so that way you can see him play games live. It's a good time, guys. Stick around. I think you have a good time.
It was getting so dark in my room here, and I was getting scared, so I had to turn the lights on real quick.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the Greensdale human being is also afraid of the dark, so he probably left.
Yeah, I don't see him anymore. I think he got intimidated by the knife.
Oh.
Yeah, now he can see it wherever he is.
No.
All right.
He's probably just downstairs making some meatball pizza, or he's helping himself to the pizza you still have in the fridge.
Speaking of this knife, I do have a wound that I should actually go to the hospital for. You know, I cut myself like almost 2 hours ago. I've been losing quite a bit of blood. I have some cancer.
You kept bleeding, huh? Yeah.
I have some candy in my desk. I've just been like snacking on that to try to stay alive. But
Yeah, to get some blood sugar back.
I'm getting very cold. I'm starting to shiver. I should probably, maybe my girlfriend can drive me there.
Oof.
If I don't make it, she'll be the host next week, I guess.
Nah. It won't be the same without you, Corey. So long, friend.
I'll return in the spirit. Ooh. I'm a spooky ghost at podcasts.
You heard it here, folks. Next episode's going to be a seance, and we'll talk to Corey.
Does Joe Rogan have that? I don't think so.
He wishes he had a seance.
Bye.
All right, see you guys. Ooh.
I'm scared.